All right, good morning, everyone. We will now call the City Council meeting of Tuesday, November 19th, 2024 to order. Clerk Fuentes, please call the roll.
Thank you, Council President. Council President Pro Tem LaCava,
Present.
Councilmember Campbell, Councilmember Whitburn,
Here.
Councilmember Foster,
Here.
Councilmember Von Wilpert, Councilmember Lee,
Here.
Councilmember Campillo, Councilmember Moreno,
Present.
Council President Elo Rivera.
Present.
Also attending the meeting are City Attorney Mara Elliott, Independent Budget Analyst Charles Modica, Council Affairs Advisor in the Mayor's Office, Coda Zeiser, and myself, your City Clerk, Diana Fuentes.
All right, thank you, Clerk Fuentes. Let's get started with the land acknowledgement and pledge of allegiance led by Council President Pro Tem LaCava.
All right, please stand if you're able. We respectfully acknowledge the Kumeyaay Nation are the original inhabitants of the unceded land now known as San Diego. Despite enduring the horrors of genocide and colonization, the Kumeyaay spirit remains unbroken. We honor the resilience of their ancestors who fought to protect their culture and land. Today, they carry their legacy forward, ensuring that their traditions continue to thrive in gratitude and strength. We stand with the Kumeyaay Nation, connected to our past and committed to a thriving future. Please remain standing if you're able. Face the flag, hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now go over how the public can offer their public testimony during today's meeting. If you are in person, please complete a speaker slip located at the entrance of chambers and bring it to the front of the room. Please submit your speaker slip in a timely manner to ensure proper meeting management. Council ambassadors are available near the entrance of chambers and can assist with questions and speaker slips. No further in-person testimony will be taken once the council begins virtual testimony. And if you would like to participate virtually, you can do so via the webinar information found on the agenda cover page. Members of the public who wish to provide virtual testimony must enter the virtual queue by raising their hand by either dialing *9 or pressing the raise your hand icon before the queue closes. The queue will close when the last virtual speaker finishes speaking or 5 minutes after in-person testimony ends, whichever occurs first. For meeting management during the proclamations and consent portions of the agenda, speakers will have 1 minute per item and up to a maximum of 3 minutes if there are 3 or more items in that portion of the agenda. For purposes of today's meeting, the order of business is anticipated to be as follows, and you will see this on the slide shown momentarily. Consent and proclamation items, items pulled from the consent agenda, if any, and then the discussion items this morning will be taken in the following order. Item 330, item S500, and item S506, followed by non-agenda public comment. And at the 2 p.m. council meeting session, the items will be taken in the following order: Housing Authority minutes, Housing Authority non-agenda public comment, Housing Authority item 1, which is an informational item, and then item 331 and item 333. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you, Clerk Fuentes. We've got a quorum. Let's proceed with approval of the consent agenda. Do we have any requests to pull items from the consent agenda? Hearing none. Let's hear public comment on our consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Council President. Again, please note that each speaker will have 1 minute per item per person. If you would like to speak on 3 or more items, you will have a maximum of 3 minutes. The consent agenda includes items 100 through items 115 and item S501. We did not receive comments on these items via our e-comment form. Also, let me note that for the record, the potential appointments and reappointments that are on the agenda this morning, item 110 are the potential appointments of Sadie Alina Wheeler and Vinaika Vengupal, and reappointments of Sarah Gao and Milan Shah to the City of San Diego Youth Commission. Item 111 are the potential reappointments of Elizabeth Bustos, Lon Che, Godwin Higa, and DeAndre Brooks to the Commission on Gang Prevention and Intervention. Item 112 are the potential reappointments of Abina Bradford, Jordan Bean, and Nick Galino to the Consolidated Plan Advisory Board. And item 115 are the potential appointments of Cody Hooven, Corey Albright, and Satomi Rush Ziegler to the Franchise Compliance Review Committee. Going to public comment for these items, we start with Tess. Gauthier, if you can please come up to the microphone. You're speaking on item 113. After that, if I can please have the following individuals, please come forward to the yellow reserved seats at the front: Evan Rose, Shaylee Heller, Julia Lowe, and Cesar Javier and Blair Beekman. Tess, you'll have 1 minute for item 113. Please proceed.
Is this?
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Hi, everyone. My name's Tess. I'm a student at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography. I moved here from LA, and I dreamed my whole life of being able to live near the ocean and to hopefully have a career in working to help conserve it. I've loved everything that I've seen so far, falling in love with the ocean and being able to access it. Though I was a bit surprised to learn of the issue with the pollution associated from Tijuana. And I just wanted to voice my support of your support in the continuation of declaring it a state of an emergency. And I just hope that this issue doesn't, fall to the wayside or gets lost in bureaucracy or whatever is happening, that it still persists. And just thank you for your support, and I hope that we can act.
Thank you for that concluding comment. Evan Rose?
All right, good morning. My name is Evan. I'm a graduate student at Scripps Institution of Oceanography. I'm here to comment on Agenda 113 to declare the continued state of emergency regarding raw sewage, solid waste, and sediment flowing into Tijuana, into San Diego's river border region. A few months ago, I was attending a meeting with community advocates, leaders, and elected officials to discuss the binational crisis. I heard firsthand from the mayor of Imperial Beach, who shared personal health impacts she and other community members have faced, particularly children and elders. These aren't just abstract concerns. People are getting sick, and our coastal environment is being damaged. It is clear that more resources, urgency, and sustained commitment are needed to truly address this ongoing crisis. This is an ongoing public health emergency. We must keep the state of emergency in place until lasting solutions are implemented. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Shaylee Heller.
Good morning, council members. My name is Shaylee Heller, and I'm a graduate student at Scripps Institution of Oceanography. I'm here to comment on agenda item 113 to continue to declare a state of emergency regarding the sewage crisis at the Tijuana River. I've witnessed the effects of this pollution firsthand through my work with a local nonprofit. I led coastal field trips and eco tours in Chula Vista, National City, and Imperial Beach. More times than not, the shoreline would have a sign that had a warning about too much bacteria, so recreation was not allowed. Last year, at a youth art build for the Tijuana River, students created paintings about the pollution's effects on the environment and their lives. Many feared the crisis would never end. During this event, I also spoke with families that talked about coughs and headaches that were caused by aerosols from the river valley. The contamination of the Tijuana River is a public health and environmental crisis that needs to be addressed on the federal level. So your continued declaration of the state of emergency is essential for this to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Julia Lowe.
Good morning, council members. My name is Julia Lau, and I'm a graduate student here with my classmates from Scripps Institution of Oceanography. I'm aware this council recognizes the emergency at the border with your original declaration of a state of emergency nearly 31 years ago and ever since then. I want to thank you for continuing to support the multiple San Diego communities still significantly affected, and I urge you to continue doing all that you can to support solutions to this crisis and aiding everybody in continuing to push the federal government to recognize and fund solutions to this emergency. The wastewater and constant presence of sewage is a public health and environmental justice issue that cannot be ignored. So thank you for giving me this space to urge you to continue your declaration of emergency at the Tijuana River, and please continue to support this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Cesar Javier. Cesar Javier is speaking on items 100 through S505, 101, 102, and 103. You'll have 3 minutes to speak to all items. You'll have 3 minutes to speak to all items.
Thank you. This is a free tuition fee. University of Life, Councilor Lacaba, thank you. Ma'am Campbell, Sir Whitburn, connecting to that, Mr. Foster, Wilfred Lee, oh, my good friend Campillo is absent. Madam Moreno, when I see you, I see the issue on Tijuana River. Ma'am Elliott, sorry, you're going out. You won't help us anymore. Hopefully a few more days. This is all about item 100 down to the last item. I strongly support these amendments and changes. National University, where are you?
Sir, the people on the Zoom cannot
President.
hear you if you do not speak into the microphone.
I support, excuse me, ma'am. Let me continue. Don't interrupt because it is legal according to Brown Act. please.
Sir, the clerk is trying to make sure that folks can hear you. That's all.
I'm not speaking. This is my body language. We need justice here. We are free. I am doing that because I'm brave. I strongly support all these policy changes because this is all for human survival. Number one, social engineering. National University, where are you? My alma mater, 2003, 2005. He taught me to stand and voice and tell everyone that there's something wrong. Human survival. Sir Lacaba, listen. You talk to Councilor Rivera about our toxicity. Are you still talking to him, sir? What did you do, Mr. Rivera? My classmate, air pollution governing body. These items are all about survival. Please pay and accept. Oh, victims, we are at fault. We will pay you. We will get that money to settle this issue from the 35% fluid money invested by the city to earn maturity profit. Please, we want this continuing study, and we recommend you, if you do not know, to go and enroll National University, my alma mater. I strongly support all of these items, if only to have honest and wise recruitment in our system. Sir, ethics. The mayor, all of you, all of us are not immune from committing illegal, dishonest, etc., the negative character description. Nobody is.
Thank you. That does conclude your time. Blair Beekman, if you can please come forward.
I wrote the Tenant Protection Ordinance. That's Sean Rivera. Declared.
Blair Beekman, you're speaking on items 107, 108, 113, and 114. You'll have 3 minutes. Please proceed.
Hi, thank you, Blair Beekman. It is public comment time. Thank you for your patience with our public comment people. We are a good lot, I feel. Thank you for your patience. I agree with the previous speaker in his words about this is a university of life right now, and it is free. Thank you for that. I'd like to speak on bringing together items 107 and 108 together about audio and video recording technologies pursuant to the surveillance technology ordinance, you call it here. Thank you. A reminder, good luck in our work in developing the trust ordinance. I think if we do day-to-day good practices, that can help eventually answer the larger questions that we're having conflicts with around trust ordinance things. But you're working on items here, just day-to-day ordinance issues, the work to do that. Thank you. Audio issues can be related to, say, shot spot or whistleblower things. It's not necessarily for this item, but just a reminder that whistleblower shot spotter things, I mean, are making a change, and they're not the same company they used to be. We have to be mindful of that, and that audio surveillance technology is not, that great. Basically, it's a more abstract purpose and cause for our future. Good luck how we consider that. To go on to items 114 and 113, states of emergency for the Tijuana River Valley area and crisis due to the winter storm. Yesterday at council, you had a really interesting agenda item talking about the future of energy conservation measures using electricity and how people from flood victims can receive funding for that. You had a very sensitive, really decent conversation here, and it was really nice to be a part of that. It's those sort of practices of sensitivity and accountability about our flood issues that it was just, I hope we can do that more in the future and have those conversations here openly and publicly. I think it would give it'd be really heartening for people to understand what we're going through and trying to work this out in good terms. And thank you. And to conclude about state of emergency for the Tijuana River Valley, I think people like myself and Joyce Sonata may have an important role to describe that the future of pure water systems. If we can do that well in the Tijuana River Valley, it will be important, and we should know how to learn to talk about that more openly. And with Mexico and Tijuana, good luck in those conversations, and that we're all humble in those conversations. Good luck how we can do that well. Thank you.
Thank you. That does conclude public comment here in council chambers. Going to those participating remotely, starting with 7968. If you can please unmute, *6. If you can please let me know which
Thank
item or
you.
items you wish to speak to.
Yes, certainly. Items 100, 107, 108, 110, 111, 113, and 114. Thank you so much, City Clerk Fuentes. Joyce Sonata, District 3, good morning. 100, yes to 5-year agreement with 4 wonderful education partners. Education is knowledge. Knowledge is power. What a wonderful gift for our employees to open. 107 and 108 together. Yes to covert audio recording under the Trust Ordinance. This is a wonderful coalition of cooperation and collaboration for increased safety for all of us. Thank you, everybody. 110. Yes, for the Youth Commission. Look at their names. Good job, City Clerk Fuentes, on the names. Isn't that beautiful diversity? Look at those names. Here is a beautiful quote for you. The power of youth is the common wealth for the entire world. I love that quote. All right, 111. Gang Prevention and Intervention Commission. Thank you so much for helping to break the cycle of generational carryover. Number 113, State of Emergency for Pollution coming from Tijuana, Mexico. First of all, thank you to the students. Wonderful job. Thanks for coming. Love you. And thank you to everybody else who spoke on this issue. We appreciate you so much. Keep doing the good work. So here are some newspaper headlines I want you to listen to. Excuse me. Number 1, door-to-door sewage survey by CDC starts today in South County. Number 2, should toll revenue fix sewage issue? Resolution by Imperial Beach urges 1% of such funds be used to combat pollution. Otay Mesa East Border Crossing. Okay, now we're going to number 114, state of emergency due to the perfect storm of January of this year. President Elo Rivera said this right after the perfect storm happened. I love this. People know you care when they feel good. Thank you, President. Now, for me, yes, let's continue the work to help those impacted by this powerful winter storm. We've done a really good job, I believe. We can always do better, so let's keep it up and amp it up if we need to. And we're working on this together, and we pray that it will never, ever happen again, but we're ready if it does. So thank you for listening, and love to all.
Thank you. And that concludes public comment on the consent items.
All right, thank you so much, Clerk. Let's begin council's discussion of the consent agenda with Councilmember Von Wolpert.
Thank you very much. And I'm happy to make a motion to move the consent agenda. I have a few comments on item 110. I would like to thank and acknowledge the reappointments of 2 D5 residents, Sarah Gao and Milan Shaw, to the Youth Commission. Ms. Gao is currently a junior at Canyon Crest Academy, and through her novel software-driven research, she's been using seeds to purify water sustainably and affordably, and has won top prizes at the Greater San Diego Science and Engineering Fair and the California State Science Fairs. Mr. Shaw is a student at Westview High School and is the founder of Real Voices, a student-led storytelling film project that amplifies youth voices. He was first inspired by his interviews with high school students at El Cajon Valley Community Center who have overcome immeasurable obstacles just to arrive and thrive here in the United States. So that experience, along with their work with several nonprofits in the area, make them ideal candidates to serve on our youth commission. So I want to thank both Sarah Gao and Milan Shaw for your willingness to volunteer to help the city and make sure that the voices of our youth are heard for the future. And with that, I'll move the consent agenda.
Thank you, Councilmember Von Wilpert. We've got a motion and we'll turn to Councilmember Moreno.
Happy to second the motion on the floor, Council President, and I have comments on item 113, which declares a continued state of emergency regarding raw sewage, solid waste, and sediment coming from the Tijuana River Valley. As we all know, this state of emergency has been in place since 1993, and conditions have only continued to get worse. First off, I want to thank all my council colleagues and Mayor Gloria for joining me last month in approving a resolution requesting the federal government declare a state of emergency in the Tijuana River Valley. That resolution has been delivered to the president and also to Congress, and we will continue to advocate for federal action on this issue. There has been some progress. First, in October, the International Boundary and Water Commission launched the South Bay International Wastewater Treatment Plant Rehabilitation and Expansion Project. This expansion will double current treatment capacity to 50 million gallons a day, and over $1 billion could still be needed to complete this project. Unfortunately, the federal government has not identified full funding for this project. Secondly, randomly selected South Bay residents may have been interviewed by the Center for Diseases Control and Prevention about their health issues. This survey is known as a CASPER survey, which is a way for the CDC to gather information about how our community's health is being affected by the exposure to the raw sewage and pollutants flowing into the Tijuana River Valley. Third, as a way for more residents to provide their input regarding the health effects that they're experiencing, the County of San Diego is conducting the ACE survey in partnership with the Agency for Toxic Substances and Diseases Registry. The ACE survey is open through November 22nd, and 2,000 people have already completed the survey. Finally, to better understand how much hydrogen sulfide is in the air in our communities, the San Diego Air Pollution Control District has upgraded their tools to monitor the level of hydrogen sulfide, which will provide more data to ensure we know what is in the air that our residents are breathing. These are all very good updates, but we still need a declaration of national emergency by the federal government and a commitment to build and expedite the project needed to truly solve this issue, making South Bay a healthier and safer community. I will continue to advocate for needed action by the federal government to resolve this terrible condition. I also want to thank all the students for coming down and speaking on the Tijuana River Valley State of Emergency. And with that, Council President, that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we've got a motion and a second. Council President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to speak on items 113, 115. Let me start out by thanking the students from Scripps Institution of Oceanography for speaking this morning. As we do every 60 days, this declaration highlights the ongoing crisis in the Tijuana River Valley and the advocacy of our local and federal partners to find solutions on both sides of the border. And I appreciate the good work of our colleague, Councilmember Moreno. This issue has often been viewed as a failure of infrastructure or action. Ultimately, this issue is about protecting the health of those that live near the border, the river, and the beach. The involvement of the CDC and researchers will give us greater insight on the impacts to the community while underscoring the need for urgency on this issue. As to the appointments in general, I want to thank everybody that has been appointed or reappointed, and thank you for giving up of your personal time to make sure that the city is the best that it can be. Specifically on item 115, I am proud to nominate Satomi Rush Ziegler to the Franchise Compliance Review Committee. This committee is tasked with doing the important work of reviewing SDG&E's compliance with the franchise agreements and making recommendations to the council for potential renewal. Ms. Rush Ziegler is a highly qualified candidate, and I look forward to her contributions to this community. Committee, excuse me. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem. Councilmember Lee?
Thank you, Council President. First, want to speak on item 111 and congratulate our District 6 Representative Lon Chai on his reappointment to the Commission on Gang Prevention and Intervention. Mr. Chai is the son of refugee parents who fled Cambodia during the Pol Pot regime to Southeast San Diego and City Heights. Since the age of 14, he has spent a cumulative 22 years incarcerated. However, during his incarceration, Mr. Chai obtained associate degrees in sociology, social and behavioral sciences, and communication and media languages. In addition, since his release, Mr. Chai has obtained a bachelor's degree in sociology from San Diego State University. He's worked with the Asian Solidarity Collective, the New Breath Foundation, and the Freedom and Justice Committee, alongside those who are formerly and currently incarcerated and their families, to support efforts that bring and keep loved ones home. As a former gang member and community advocate, Mr. Chai's lived experiences, unique perspectives, and passion for positive change, increased opportunities, and nonviolence amongst marginalized communities is invaluable, and I'm confident that Mr. Chai will continue to be an asset to that commission. On item 115, I am proud to nominate Mr. Corey Albright for appointment to the Franchise Compliance Review Committee. Mr. Albright is the Chief Operating Officer of the San Diego Convention Center Corporation, where he oversees engineering and capital projects and procurement. With over 16 years of experience, he is a trusted leader in managing complex projects, having successfully managed high-value contracts and partnerships totaling more than $2 billion. He's committed to transparency, accountability, and operational excellence in all his professional endeavors. And I know that he will leverage his expertise and leadership to support the Franchise Compliance Review Committee alongside the two additional highly qualified nominees, Ms. Hooven and Ms. Rash Ziegler. Thank you, Mr. Chai and Mr. Albright, for your willingness to serve the city. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Lee. Councilmember Campbell?
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to make remarks on item 110 and say thank you to Vinanatuk Venugopal, a resident of Claremont District 2, who's willing to serve on the Youth Commission. He's currently a sophomore at Mission Bay High. Vinyak started a chess club at Balboa Branch Library, where he teaches youngsters how to play chess. He's also the chess reserve champion at his high school's chess club, with top ranking from the U.S. Chess Foundation. Additionally, Vinayat is member of the Model UN Club, Varsity Academic League team, and the Mock Trial Club. He was also an intern for the San Diego County Assessor's Office, where he worked on record management. Given his commitment to extracurricular activities and community service to his school and his community, I support greatly the appointment of Mr. Venugopal to the Youth Commission, and I so appreciate his willingness to serve. And likewise, I'd like to thank Sadie Wheeler, a resident of Bayho in District 2, who's willing to serve on the Youth Commission also. She's currently a junior at University City High School. At school, she founded the Social Change Club, where she has led multiple initiatives, including successfully advocating for feminine hygiene products in school bathrooms. And she's also varsity cheerleader, vice president of the Associated Student Body, and she's also an Employ and Empower intern for our city's Department of Human Resources. Given her dedication to extracurricular activities and her community service to her school and neighborhood, I support the appointment of Sadie Wheeler to the Youth Commission and thank her for her willingness to serve. And now I would like to speak on item 112, which is the reappointment of Jordan Bean to the Consolidated Plan Advisory Board. Thank you, Jordan, resident of Point Loma in District 2, for your willingness to be reappointed and to continue your good efforts on the Consolidated Plan Advisory Board. Jordan is currently the Principal Public Affairs Representative for the San Diego County Water Authority, where he handles media relations, content creation, and more. Prior to this role, he was Chief of Staff at the Regional Task Force on the Homeless, the HUD designated lead agency for San Diego's Continuum of Care for the Homeless. He worked with state and local policymakers on the issue of homeless and also with us in the District 2 office in his time with our team. He was so instrumental in collaborating with stakeholders to implement environmentally friendly policies in San Diego. He served as a consultant for us with the environment, and he helped us to create the San Diego Community Power, the Mayor's Monarch Butterfly Pledge, the Climate Emergency Declaration, and many, many other things that he did when he was with us. He received his BA from American University in Washington, D.C. in communications with his focus on print journalism. And given his dedication and hard work serving in San Diego, which we have personally seen and enjoyed, I support greatly the reappointment of our friend Jordan Bean to the Consolidated Plan Advisory Board, and I so appreciate his willingness to continue to serve. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell. All right, we'll now go to Councilmember Foster.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I'd like to comment on item 111, 114, and 115. In regards to item 111, reappointments to the Commission on Gang Prevention and Intervention, I want to congratulate everyone who's being reappointed to the Commission on Gang Prevention and Intervention. The work you do to reduce community violence and review support services for vulnerable residents is important. I especially want to thank DeAndre Brooks for chairing this commission and remaining committed to this work throughout the years. DeAndre, I know this work is often hard work. I know you're often met with a lot of no's and doors being shut as you were trying to do the work that you do. I just want to commend you on your dedication and would just like to point that this work is important to me, as you often heard me say that I have been raised by the village. And if it were not for people that were behind me, that supported me, that saw something in me, I don't think I would be sitting here today in the role that I'm currently serving. So I commend you on those efforts. Regarding item 112, reappointments to the Consolidated Plan Advisory Board, I also want to congratulate everyone who's being reappointed to the Consolidated Plan Advisory Board. This board dedicates a lot of their time to make decisions on where funding will go for CDBG funded programs. I want to thank you for the countless hours you continue to dedicate toward this work. I also want to thank, and I am very delighted to say this, Dr. Abina Bradford, for her work as a chair of this board, and congratulations on your recent doctorate. Item 114, declaring a continued state of local emergency due to the January 22nd, 2024 winter storm. Regarding item 114, I just want to note the need to support flood-impacted residents has not diminished. We will hear an item today from the Housing Authority that will give an account of where we are, and there's still much need in our community. Just this weekend, I visited a home that is in the process of being rebuilt with the help of community partners. We can't turn a blind eye to this issue. We must continue to support our residents. Item 115, appointments to the Franchise Compliance Review Committee. Last, regarding item 115, I want to thank the members being appointed to the Franchise Compliance Review Committee. I was happy to nominate Cody Hoven. Cody's background reflects a deep commitment to improving sustainability in the city of San Diego. She led the development of the first ever Port Climate Action Plan and secured support from waterfront businesses. At the city, she garnered unprecedented support, which led to the passage and implementation of a nationally recognized climate plan. She also built San Diego Community Power, the second largest public power agency in California. Most of all, Cody always centers social justice and equity within her work and initiatives. With that, I'm happy to nominate Cody and support all of the other nominated candidates. Thank you, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Councilmember Foster. Councilmember Whitburn.
Thank you, Council President. I too want to congratulate everybody who's being appointed or reappointed to a city board or commission today. I'll highlight a few District 3 residents, including Public Health Policy and Community Engagement Executive Elizabeth Bustos and Youth Program Senior Coordinator DeAndre Brooks, both of whom are being reappointed to another term on the Commission on Gang Prevention and Intervention, and businesswoman Abina Bradford, or as Councilmember Foster pointed out, Dr. Abina Bradford, who's being reappointed to another term on the Consolidated Plan Advisory Board. I appreciate each of them for their service to our city and our communities. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitburn. All right, so Councilmember Von Wilpert made a motion. It was seconded by Councilmember Moreno. Appreciate the comments from my colleagues on these items. I will just reiterate and say thank you to Councilmember Foster for calling out item 114. I think one of the things that many of us who've been working with folks impacted by the floods have been worried about is that the city will move on. And I don't mean necessarily just the city as the kind of formal city of San Diego, but the community in the city. I appreciate you sharing the story that you did, Councilmember Foster, because I don't know that folks realize that there are people who are still displaced from their homes or living in homes that they shouldn't be in. So the continued work of the Housing Commission, of the council, of the city, and of the broader community to ensure that as many people as possible get back into their homes, and if they can't get back into their homes, get back into their community, so that we can minimize the displacement and disruption that has already been so catastrophic to so many people. So thank you again to my colleagues for the comments here. Thank you to all of the members of the public for stepping up and serving in the various capacities that you are. With that, clerk, please call the roll.
I'm sorry, the voting system, please cast your vote. My apologies, Councilor Ward.
Yeah, my system isn't working, but I vote yes.
We were on such a roll too. Thank you. People can run for office and how citizens can propose new laws or changes. Plus, it's the first opportunity to review proposed changes to these processes and laws for the 2026 election and beyond. This event is about empowering the community to shape our city's future. By sharing input with our office, we can create a more transparent and inclusive election process. And for families, we've got free arts and craft activities for children's 5 and up. Thank you to our partnership with the Park and Recreations Department. Registration is encouraged for planning purposes, but not required. You can sign up by calling 619-533-4000 or email cityclerk@sandiego.gov. Please come be a part of shaping your city's law. I hope to see some of you there. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Campbell. Oh, for the next one. Gotcha. Good. Okay. Well, with that, we will now move to our proclamation items. Clerk, do we have public comment on our proclamation items?
Yes, we do have public comment on our proclamation items. If you are speaking on one or more items, it is 1 minute per item per person with a maximum of 3 minutes for 3 or more items. The proclamation items being approved are items S502 to S504. We did receive comments in opposition to items S502 via our e-comment form, which have been distributed to the council. We have Shelley Webb here with us today. If you can please come up to the high microphone, as well as Anselmo Estrada and Daniel Orloff. If you can please come forward to the yellow reserve seats at the front. Shelley, you have time ceded to you by Andrea Litwin. Thank you. You'll have 2 minutes. Please proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Council President, Council members, and City Attorney Elliott. I am Shelley Webb. I am the President of the Deputy City Attorneys Association of San Diego. We would like to acknowledge City Attorney Mara Elliott and support the declaration as of November 19th, 2024 as Mara Elliott Day in the City of San Diego. City Attorney Elliott was elected to the position of City Attorney after serving as a Deputy City Attorney in our Civil Advisory Division. Having been a member of DCAA, Mara Elliott was familiar with many issues faced by Deputy City Attorneys in this office. She took that experience and became an advocate for our members. In the past, attorneys in different divisions were treated better or worse than others depending on the elected city attorney's preference. Upon taking office as city attorney, Mara Elliott made significant progress in making sure our attorneys were compensated equally with regards to their experience as attorneys and experience within the office, regardless of whatever division they served in. Mara Elliott has always had an open door policy for the attorneys and staff. She always listened to the concerns and issues the attorneys faced, including when a number of attorneys were put in the difficult position of testifying in a lawsuit against the city involving our office. She provided great support to the attorneys at that time. Mara Elliott also celebrates the successes of our attorneys in all the divisions with press conferences and weekly email updates. She also cares about the work done by our attorneys and often participates in creating the legal work, making suggestions, providing advice, and even proofreading our documents. Her support has been felt throughout the office over the years, and the Deputy City Attorneys Association wishes her nothing but success in her future endeavors. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you, Mara.
Thank you. And for the record, Daniel Orloff also gave his minute to Shelley. It was added to the clock. Next, we have Ansermio. And you're speaking on item S505.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Anselmo J. Estrada, here on behalf of the San Diego Building and Construction Trades Council. I want to thank this body, and in particular, Council members LaCava, Foster, and Moreno for bringing forward consideration of proclaiming this week National Apprenticeship Week 2024. Americans and communities are hurting. We're working harder than ever, yet the actualization of that work continues to be out of reach for our communities. How do we address that? By continuing to invest and promote opportunities available within our registered apprenticeships. These are programs that allow folks to hone their crafts, gain new ones, earn while they learn, fully vest in a pension after their program is over, and have access to benefits and full family health care. And also graduate with zero debt. We like to call them the other four-year degrees, and that's truly what they are. Support for registered apprentices means strengthening our economy and our communities, and I thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you for that concluding comment. Before going to those participating online, I did want to clarify for the record in reviewing the actual comment submitted for item S502, it is not related to item S502. It is related to non-agenda public comment. So I am starting the 5-minute timer here in council chambers and going to 7968. If you can please unmute. Please let me know which item or items you wish to speak to.
Sorry. Yes, thank you, City Clerk Fuentes. Item 502 and item 504, please.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Council President Pro Tem LaCava, thank you. Councilmember Campbell, Councilmember Lee, thank you. Proclaiming today to be City Attorney Mara W. Elliott Day in the city of San Diego. Attorney Elliott, it has been an honor to help those faces to be happier by transforming the landscape of food assistance. San Diego Hunger, wonderful people. You have a huge heart of gold. Thank you for 50 years. That's truly, truly awesome. I'm going to put that on my pending for Thursday.
Your time has
and just
expired.
Celebrate with you.
Thank you for that concluding
thank you.
comment. Next is
Thank
Judy
you.
Strain. If you can please unmute and let me know which item or items you wish to speak to.
Good morning. I'd like to speak to S502.
You'll have 1 minute. Please proceed.
Thank you, City Council. Thank you, City Clerk. I wanted to add my thanks to to others who have spoken regarding this proclamation in favor of our City Attorney, Mara Elliott. I have watched often her press releases regarding legislation at the city level that's been put in motion to protect young people, and I've appreciated that. Sometimes I feel that we don't have enough advocates for youth on City Council. I'm particularly speaking about the lawsuit in 2023 in August regarding retail chains who are selling flavored tobacco products when there was both a city and a state law against it. And just a few words of quotes from our city attorney. She mentions, as a mother and a prosecutor, I was appalled by the tactics of these tobacco industry, which continues to manufacture and advertise deadly products. She goes on to say that we're making money off the backs of children. I appreciate her personal point.
Thank you. That does conclude your time. And that concludes public comment on the proclamations.
All right, thank you, Clerk. Let's begin council's discussion of the proclamation items with Councilmember Campbell.
Thank you so much. I would like to cede some of my time to our dear Mayor, Todd Gloria, in regard to this being a proclamation day for our city attorney, Mara Elliott. And if I could just have a few seconds after that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, council member, and thank you to yourself and to our Council President Pro Tem LaCava and Councilmember Lee for authoring this proclamation to honor and to recognize and celebrate our city attorney. And I appreciate the chance to be here in solidarity with our legislative branch and appreciation for the leadership Mara, that you've brought to our city. Your service over 15 years has been exceptional. Many will say this, I hate to step on anyone's toes if I do, but we have to acknowledge that this proclamation is worthy not just for the 15 years of service, but for the history-making role that you've played in our city and the extraordinary work, and many of you will talk about it, but I will say from my perspective, what I've admired, one of the many things I admire about our city attorney is that she's a statewide leader. We all probably have some notion of that, but I want you to understand that across California, people know that Mara Elliott has been a leader on a multitude of issues, not the least of which is gun violence prevention. And across the state, people are taking what she has done through her office and replicate it in their own communities, which is really remarkable. I love it when San Diego leads. Mara shares that passion, and she's executed that over her 8 years as our city attorney. In addition, there's been extraordinary leadership on consumer protection that has protected communities, neighborhoods, citizens, residents, businesses, list goes on and on. It has also had some positive impacts on our city's general fund, which I deeply appreciate. And I think more than anything, when I think about Mara's time as city attorney, we've had to work very closely together on a multitude of very difficult issues over the last 4 years. And what I've always admired is your ability to manage your role as a city attorney, along with that as a wife and a mother. It is not uncommon to speak with Mara when she's on her way to a wrestling practice or to college trips for her 2 sons. And she always managed to balance that with extraordinary grace, never making it feel as though I was imposing on her time, although I definitely was. Mara, you just have done an exceptional job. And because of your contributions to justice, to equality, to furthering our city, I just wanted to be here to express my appreciation for your service, letting you know that you've left your office, of the office of the city attorney, and our city certainly better than you found it. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your partnership, and wish you all the best as you term out of office. Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Campbell.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. And I would just like to add a recognition personally, Mara, for your 15 years of service to our city. She was the first member of her family to graduate from college. She's also the first woman and the first Latina elected to serve as city attorney here in San Diego. Yes, absolutely. She's led the charge in addressing many of our most pressing issues, as the mayor pointed out, so many different issues that she's helped us with. But I would like to again emphasize the city's first gun violence restraining order law that is now in effect. She is now a nationwide leader, not only in our state, but thank you for going up and down California and helping us here, but also she's asked to come all around the nation as a leader in gun safety for educating other law enforcement agencies and cities about our laws, which are becoming nationally recognized and are commonly called red flag laws. In 2018, she revitalized our Your Safe Plate, the major role they've played in fighting food insecurity, improving access to fresh, nutritious food throughout our county. They have brought together 25 community organizations to collaboratively end nutrition insecurity. They've also worked with our local, state, and federal officials to craft policies to secure funding to support critical food assistance programs. And we will continue with that work no matter what. And we thank you, San Diego Hunger Coalition, for your years of service, decades of service to San Diego. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell. Can we count that as a motion to approve the proclamation items?
To approve the proclamation.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will now turn to Councilmember Von Wilpert. Oh, sorry. We'll go to Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Council President. And I'll speak on several of the proclamation items, starting with item S502. Want to take a moment and thank Councilmember Campbell for bringing forth this proclamation, along with Council President Pro Tem LaCava and myself, to recognize our outgoing City Attorney, Mara Elliott, who is concluding not just their 15 years of service to the City of San Diego, but 8 years as our City Attorney. She's had a long time history as a legal advisor to many public agencies before advising us here at the city, and she's been really instrumental in a number of trailblazing initiatives, including the creation of the Affirmative Civil Enforcement Unit, relaunching Your Safe Place, the Family Justice Center, and then, as we've already discussed, her trailblazing and nationally recognized work on gun violence restraining orders. I think these are just a small sample of the tremendous amount of impact that she's been able to make in her time here at the city. At the council, we certainly have been appreciative of your office's legal advice throughout the years, but also your outreach to our communities and our constituents. If I'm going to recollect one story, it is that when we first stepped into office, our district was looking to answer some constituent concerns regarding street racing and sideshows. And I remember that City Attorney Elliott, you not only helped to bring together the team that would help to address our constituents, you were there yourself. You wanted to be there to help introduce your team, the individuals behind the work, to help introduce yourself to constituents. And I remember that really always stuck with me, how invested you were in being visible and available to our residents. I've always appreciated that we've been able to work together on a variety of issues and to always speak openly and honest with each other, even in times when we might have debated issues that we might not have been on the same page on, to working together on items, some I think which will come after your time here is completed. And then the mayor hinted at this as well, but there have been many times where I think you and I have shared our experiences in terms of family and what it's like raising young children, especially while holding the offices that we do. So just want to wish you the best of luck as you pursue your next endeavors, to thank you for your service to the city, and of course to help proclaim today, November 19th, as City Attorney Mara W. Elliott Day here in the city of San Diego. On item S503, I want to thank Council Members Whitburn and Campillo for bringing this item forward, and to thank Julie Coker for her leadership and service at the helm of the San Diego Tourism Authority. Julie, your service, and especially in the height of the recovery from San Diego's tourism sector following COVID-19, was really significant, and you helped to champion a number of initiatives, including the Tourism Accelerator, which certainly small businesses in my district have benefited from and praised for their experience. So thank you, Julie, for all of your work, and good luck as you take on your new role in the City of New York. And finally, on item S504, congratulations to the San Diego Hunger Coalition on your 50th anniversary. And thanks again to Council President Pro Tem LaCava and Council Members Campbell for joining me in recognizing the Hunger Coalition's 50 years of fighting toward a hunger-free San Diego. Over the past half century, their tireless advocacy has resulted in many achievements, including most recently extending deadlines to secure millions in additional benefits for San Diego residents in 2023, providing over 1 million additional meals for those in need. The Hunger Coalition has played a critical role in shaping local, state, and national hunger relief policies. They've partnered with state legislators and Congress members to secure vital funding for food assistance programs. And this Thursday at the 6th Annual State of Hunger event, we look forward to recognizing all of those who have contributed to the Hunger Coalition's history, and certainly proud to proclaim November 21st as San Diego Hunger Coalition's 50th anniversary day in the city of San Diego. That concludes my comments. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilor Lee. And will that be a second?
That was a second.
Thank you. All right, now we'll go to Councilmember Von Wilpert with a motion and a second on the floor.
Thank you, Council President. I want to thank my colleagues, as always, for bringing forth fantastic proclamations. This is one of my favorite parts of our job, is celebrating the many people here in San Diego that make our city so great. I am still in denial that Julie Coker is leaving the city of San Diego. You've done such a fantastic job here, and I'm very I'm excited to honor you today. Julie Coker took on her role as president and CEO of the San Diego Tourism Authority in March 2020. What a great time to take on tourism. We never could have anticipated what happened next, but you really did help steer the ship. You came and personally appeared at our COVID-19 Response and Recovery Committee here at City Hall and kept in very close touch with us about how we could welcome tourists back to San Diego, which we did earlier than many other cities. Our vaccine program worked very well in San Diego County. We made sure we had outdoor events. Our businesses were able to open outdoors. So thank you, Julie, for your work during that time. We welcome 35 million visitors annually, 194,000 workers in the tourism industry. And I want to say, as a local policymaker here, I always felt very informed by you in your office. I welcomed your meetings. I welcomed celebrating events with you here. And my one request is when you do go to New York City, where I went to law school, please remind them in February to come visit us here in San Diego when it's very cold and snowing there. So congratulations, and know that we'll miss you. But I'll see you when I'm in New York. For National Apprenticeship Week 2024, thank you very much for the building trades, for all you do for our working people here in San Diego. It is an incredible opportunity to get a high-paying, well-qualified job without student debt. That's one of the things that we really need to recognize about our apprenticeships. Not only do they actually build the infrastructure we need every day, we're not crippling people with student debt that takes mountains and years to get out of. As someone who recently paid off her law school loans, I understand that. San Diego Hunger Coalition 50th anniversary. I just want to thank the San Diego Hunger Coalition for your incredible work. 50 years is a long time to be in existence. Nonprofit work is not easy. You have to fundraise and you have to hire employees and get volunteers. And so thank you for all that you do. The San Diego Hunger Coalition provided over 1.1 million meals to those in need and has trained nearly 2,000 people just last year alone. So thank you very much. I'm very grateful to you. And finally, and I may need my extra 3 minutes too, please, Clerk, for the last proclamation I'd love to highlight, which is to our City Attorney, Mara Elliott. Very excited to honor Mara Elliott today. Probably gonna cry. We're very sad that you're leaving, but you have left such a legacy here. Personally, for me as well, not only have you been an incredible mentor to me, I'll never forget the day in 2016 when a young woman emailed Mara Elliott out of nowhere. She did not know her. And she took the time to respond and say, yeah, I'll meet you for coffee, because the subject of the email was, I think I might want to run for office. And so Mara did. I reached out to her through our Merge Network, and she took the time between leaving City Hall and going to pick up her kids, I believe it was from wrestling, and cooking dinner to meet me, a total stranger, and help mentor me and raise me up through the ranks. So I want to thank you not only for your public service in terms of the way you have protected our communities from gun violence. There is currently a man in custody right now who threatened to shoot Shoal Creek Elementary in our district because we have gun violence restraining orders now that people can act on because of your leadership. Not only are you a trailblazer as the first woman and Latina elected, but the nation has recognized your work. I've read multiple New York Times articles in which we're talking about why the rest of the nation can't be more like San Diego in preventing gun violence. You have really revamped the San Diego Family Justice Center and made sure that is an integral part of the services we provide. And now other cities and counties are taking on that work too. And you have statewide legislation recently passed to make sure that every single San Diego or Family Justice Center in the nation does trainings on gun violence restraining orders. That's an incredible legacy to leave. Very excited about this. I also want to thank all the deputy city attorneys here. Personally, working at the city attorney's office was one of my favorite jobs I've ever had. The culture there is fantastic. The friendships are fantastic. The lawyers support one another, and we need to because the work is grueling. So if anyone here is part of the deputy city attorneys or any support staff, any legal secretaries, please stand up. We'd like to recognize you. And Mara, you're going to have to help me with this one because I don't think I've counted everybody. But Mara, through her leadership, has brought up an entire group of lawyers who have taken the next step in their public service and have become civic leaders in our county. So most recently, Marco Verdugo was recently elected to be the city attorney of Chula Vista. He was just sworn in, and he was a deputy city attorney here. You have raised up 2 currently seated city council members, myself and Councilor Campillo. I can count at least 3 San Diego Superior Court judges, Kathy Richardson, Dana Nicholas Fairchild, and Charles Bell, but there's more, right? Okay, there's many more Superior Court judges that now have become judges who were deputy city attorneys. And San Diego's newest city attorney-elect, Heather Ferbert. Heather, we're so excited for you. You're going to do an excellent job. And thank you for wanting this job. Public service is not easy, but we're very excited for you to take the helm very soon. So Mara, thank you again for everything you've done to keep our city safe and protected, for raising up an incredible group of lawyers who dedicate their hearts, minds, blood, sweat, and tears to this city. I appreciate all of the work you do. And Mara, I know we're going to miss you very much.
Good for you, Mom.
Council President Pro Tem LaCava.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to speak briefly on all the items and take them in reverse order. S505, this week is National Apprenticeship Week. Registered apprenticeship programs expand quality workforce opportunities and under-resourced communities, offering a career path open to all San Diegans. City of San Diego recognizes the multiple positive impacts the apprenticeship programs have on our local workforce while building a more diverse working class with access to good-paying, family-sustaining jobs for all. Thank you to my colleagues, Councilmember Foster, Moreno, and Campillo for joining me in recognizing our local apprenticeship programs. S504, thank you, Julie, for your years of service, and I wish you the best in your next adventure. As the Councilmember Von Wilper said, send those tourists our way, tell them to leave their dollars, and then they can go back to the winter of New York. So, S504, thank you to Councilmember Campbell and Lee for joining me in proclamation for the San Diego Hunger Coalition's 50th anniversary. The coalition has been making lasting impacts in our community for 50 years, ensuring that all San Diegans who face food insecurity have immediate, equitable, and dignified access to food assistance. The efforts of the San Diego Hunger Coalition demonstrated through their successes. In 2023, they provided 1.1 million meals to those facing that food insecurity. Your continued efforts in collaboration, advocacy, and education is critical for the well-being of San Diegans. Congratulations on your work and many more years of feeding San Diegans. S502. I would like to echo the congratulations of my colleagues, Madam City Attorney. You have truly made a lasting impact on the City of San Diego during your 15 years of service. My colleagues have gone on at length about all the accomplishments, and I'm going to focus on one other one. Thank you for leading on Measure D. It is clear that the voters agreed with the decision to make the Ethics Commission more independent, and it speaks highly to your track record of creating greater transparency and oversight in the City of San Diego. You are leaving a legacy of strong advocacy and unwavering perseverance, improving the lives of San Diegans and protecting the interests of the city and its residents through your steadfast representation. Thank you for your service, and I wish you the best on your next adventure.
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem Ricava. Councilor Whitburn.
Thank you very much, Council President. I will just pile on and say how much I appreciate City Attorney Elliott for having made the safety of our residents such a priority during your tenure. I mean, that is really, at the end of the day, so much of what it's all about. But with the gun violence restraining order program, the lives that you saved by being such a leader on that, expanding the vision of your safe place, all the people who have experienced domestic violence, who you helped, and the helpfulness with which you have approached some of the measures that all of us on the City Council, including myself, have brought forward in helping to legally formulate them. You and your team have been obviously instrumental. And I guess lastly, your accessibility. Legal questions come up all the time in the policymaking process, and you have always been available and incredibly knowledgeable in helping us in steering those endeavors. So thank you so much for what you have done for our city in your entire time with the city. I am also pleased to join Councilmember Campillo and my colleagues in bringing forward the proclamation recognizing Julie Coker for her leadership during her 4 years as president and CEO of the San Diego Tourism Authority. As Councilmember Von Wilpert mentioned, Ms. Coker was at the helm of the agency during the height of the pandemic. And you are one of the reasons why San Diego recovered from the pandemic more quickly than other cities did. I recall the strategic decisions that you made as to which cities and which regions to advertise to and promoting San Diego as a destination, given the circumstances that we were in at that time. And obviously, those decisions were fortuitous. It paid off really well. You've also been strong advocates for measures here at the city to improve the quality not just of the stay for visitors to San Diego, but also of residents in San Diego. And I've been very appreciative of our partnership in that regard. So thank you for your tenure here and much success in your new role in New York City. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitburn. We will now go to Councilmember Moreno.
Thank you.
Actually, sorry, apologies, Councilmember Moreno. Councilmember Whitburn, did you want to do a photo with Ms. Coker? I thought that I had that here. And then we can do one with City Attorney Elliott at the end as well.
Yeah, let's do them at the end. That'd be
Okay.
good. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Moreno.
Thank you. I'd like to start off with item S502, which is City Attorney Maria Elliott Day. As our city attorney, I've appreciated your partnership in addressing a few very important issues, and I'd like to highlight them today. First, when I first was elected in 2018, one of the first things I did was reach out to you to have the city join the state's lawsuit over the Tijuana River Valley pollution. The city did join that litigation, which resulted in funding being allocated to address some of the infrastructure needs to stop the flow of sewage in the Tijuana River Valley. Obviously, that issue is still ongoing, but being able to work with you to get initial action from the city was a very important step forward. Secondly, during the devastating floods that impacted communities such as South Crest last January, you were instrumental in helping to connect residents with legal resources that assisted them in a variety of ways, including avoiding illegal eviction. Thank you for that. And I know that those resources were extremely impactful to many people who were devastated by the floods. I wish you the very best and congratulations on November 19th, 2024, being declared City Attorney Maria Elliott Day in the city of San Diego. Moving on to item S503, Julie Coker Day. I have long been impressed with the excellent job you've done here in San Diego as the president and CEO of the San Diego Tourism Authority. Beginning your tenure here in 2020 during the COVID pandemic, you immediately showed that you had the expertise to guide the tourism authority through an extremely difficult time when so many of us were unsure when conventions and leisure travel would resume in San Diego. I just got a feeling of what that felt like when we were in the thick of our Zoom meetings and you were able to help us get back, and you helped us get back as one of the top U.S. leisure destinations. Let that sink in. I commend you for the hard work and effort you put in making that a reality. I wish you the very, very best in your new role as the president and CEO of the New York City Tourism Convention. And remember that during your first big New York snowstorm, you could always book a trip back to sunny and warm San Diego, sunny and warm. But congratulations on this next endeavor and everything that you've done, and just being a really nice person all the time. So thank you for that. Item S505 is National Apprenticeship Week 2024. It's an honor to co-sponsor this proclamation. Apprenticeship programs are incredibly important. They give those learning a new skill the opportunity to earn income while becoming proficient in a specific area of expertise. More than 63,000 apprentices are on the job in California today in more than 200 different professions. After someone finishes an apprenticeship program, they are able to hit the ground running and begin participating in the workforce as an expertise worker. I will say that it was very different from when I graduated, right, from university. Took me a while to get my bearings, so that is awesome. And obviously, this provides not just this provides not just an ever improving workforce in the city of San Diego, but it provides people with well-paid, family sustainable jobs. Apprenticeship programs are critical to the health of San Diego's workforce, and I'm proud to declare November 17th through the 23rd, 2024 to be National Apprenticeship Week 2024 in the city of San Diego. Thank you. That concludes my comments, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Moreno. Councilmember Foster.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I'd like to comment on item S502, S503, S504, and S505. First, item S502, City Attorney Maria Elliott Day. I would like to thank my colleagues, Council President Pro Tem Joe LaCava and council members Jennifer Campbell and Kent Lee for bringing this proclamation forward. Mara, you did a tremendous job serving the city of San Diego as our chief legal advisor. I applaud you for making history as the first woman and Latina elected city attorney to take office. As it's been mentioned, I also understand the role of family and the impact that it can have. So would just like to publicly thank your family for sharing you with the city of San Diego for the years that you have served. Also would like to thank you for advocating for the innocent victims of domestic violence and sex trafficking. I would like to say that what you have done with My Safe Place is truly commendable. And it's not something that I felt that you did as I've had a chance to tour the facility and to see the collaboration and the services that are there being provided. It wasn't something that you did as a political move. I feel you did do it truly. You felt it was the right thing to do. And I think it shows just how much your heart is in that work based on the impact that it has had to our region. And as you go to that facility and understanding what it means for impacted individuals to truly have a safe place. So just really want to commend you on those efforts. Also, I'd like to say we go back quite a ways. First met you when I was the EOC program manager. And I must say, as my colleague Kate Lee mentioned, you've had debates. I much refer to them as sparring opportunities. And I must say, those opportunities actually prepared me for what I do today and what it means to understand how the city does business, what it means to dive into the specifics and the details so that I would be prepared as I had to sit down with you and have those conversations. So I applaud you for your work. I applaud you for your dedication, your commitment to the details, in doing what's right on behalf of the city of San Diego. So I applaud you for that. Next, moving on, would like to speak to item S503, Julie Coker Day. You've heard quite a few accolades from my colleagues, but I think simply for me, when I think of Julie Coker and the work, I sum it up in 2 words, and that's just simply Black excellence. And so I want to thank you for all of your efforts for helping the city get back to a better place with the, and all the things that we were impacted by with the pandemic. Sorry to see you go, I must admit that. It is quite a loss to the city of San Diego and the region. But I also just want to say that from the day that we met in our briefings when I was chief of staff and now as council member, the one thing that I've always focused on is bringing African-American organizations to the city of San Diego. And I commend you on your efforts. I commend you on your results, as you did an excellent job at bringing some very prestigious organizations to the city of San Diego. So thank you for everything that you have done. And I'm always only a phone call away if we ever need anything. So thank you very much. Moving on to item S504, San Diego Hunger Coalition 50th anniversary. Thank you, Council President Pro Tem, Councilmember Campbell and Lee for bringing this proclamation forward. The San Diego Hunger Coalition has worked tirelessly for the past 50 years to address access to food assistance. The work of the coalition has helped put food on the table for residents in my district and across the city. Thank you so much for your ongoing efforts to advocate for policies that increase access to food. And lastly, item S505, National Apprenticeship Week 2024. I'm happy to join Council President Pro Tem, Campillo, and Councilmember Moreno. It's important for me that every resident in my district has access to the same opportunities that I have had. Apprenticeships are just one way to concurrently provide experience and income to the emerging workforce. Council District 4 is home to several apprenticeship programs. I want to thank the Black Contractors Association, ECC, CNC Mentor Protege Program, and Homework for all the work that they do to provide apprenticeships in the district. Also would like to thank the building trades, the carpenters, and the other union families for the work that you do. And I can't stress how important this is to me as my father joined the trades at the age of 17. And that's the way that he provided for my family. where he was able to provide a home, able to pay for 2 kids to go to college. And so I applaud you on your efforts. And as always, I am here to help any way I can. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Foster. All right. We had a motion to approve the proclamation items from Councilmember Campbell. It was seconded by Councilmember Lee. I will start by expressing my appreciation to all my colleagues for bringing these proclamations forward today. And just for housekeeping purposes, what I'll do is I've got a few comments to make. We'll invite Ms. Kokrup for your photo. City Attorney Elliott, I will share some of my time with you if you'd like to make some comments, and we will do a photo with you as well. So beginning with National Apprenticeship Week, thank you, AJ, for being here and for your comments. Thank you for the comments from my colleagues. Incredibly important that we recognize the importance of apprenticeships and invest more in them. And I'm glad that we're recognizing this week to draw more attention to the benefits of apprenticeships and how they can be not just an opportunity to land a job, but a career, and as Councilmember Foster can demonstrate, a family-changing opportunities that have benefits for multiple generations of folks. San Diego Hunger Coalition, the 50th anniversary, very important that we recognize the work that the Hunger Coalition does in a country that is as rich as ours, a city that has as much affluence as ours does in certain places. It can be easy to forget that there are folks who do not know where their next meal is going to come from. And the Hunger Coalition doing the work that they do to raise awareness about hunger and ensure that there are many, many people engaged in the effort to reduce and hopefully one day eliminate hunger in our city is incredibly important, and I'm appreciative of the work that's done there. Julie, we're going to miss you. I've certainly appreciated the opportunity to work with you. And I think one thing that stands out about the conversations that we had is how willing to receive some of the feedback I've provided around how we need to be more explicit about how tourism needs to work for San Diego and San Diegans, and how you were always willing to hear that part of the conversation. So, sir, if you could, thank you. So thank you so much for the work that you've done here. You being recruited by New York is a testament, obviously, to how well you've done your job here. And we appreciate everything that you've done, and we will certainly miss you. Julie, if you'd like to come up, I know that Councilor Whitburn wanted to do a photo with you, and we can do a photo here in the well. And then we'll wrap up my time. I have a few more comments to make, and then we'll do a photo. Some comments from Madam City Attorney, and then a photo with her as well.
Yay.
You're a candidate for mayor. Council Pro President.
All right. Thank you for that, Julie. I'll just, before I hand it over to Madam City Attorney, I want to say thank you for all the work that you've done. You know, being the trailblazer that you've been, as has been noted, being the first woman and Latina elected to city attorney. Mara, I'll tell you this. I really appreciate the work that you've done to make the office active in pursuing justice. I was drawn to the law because of the belief that it can do that. And your safe place, your gun violence restraining orders, the work that you've done to recover the stolen wages of gig workers, that is very much the type of work that made me want to be a lawyer. And so seeing your office do that and commit the power that your office holds to that effort, I know that I see that and I appreciate that very much. And you've definitely left a very, very important mark in this city. So thank you for all that you've done. With that, I will hand you the rest of my time and we will step down for a photo whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Council President. I want to thank Council Members Campbell, Lee, Council President Pro Tem LaCava, Mayor Gloria, all the council members for the very nice things you just said. It's very humbling to hear. And all of my colleagues at the city attorney's office. I've seen some of them slip out because they had to get to court and other things, and you've been sitting here for a long time. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything that you do every day. You're the unsung heroes, and you're so appreciated. I also want to thank my husband, Greg, who is sitting in the audience with my son, Graham, our other child. Thank you. This is the part where I get a little emotional. And our boys, Garrett and Graham. Garrett is at UC Santa Cruz, could not be here today. They have been with me throughout the career. And you heard a little bit about balancing family and work. And thank you, Greg, for all those late nights that you helped the kids get through homework. COVID, so difficult to be city attorney. And also mom, my husband was an essential worker who had to go to work every day at SDSU and run the lab. So I was being our essential city attorney and still making sure 2 boys were logging on to school, which was not easy. So none of this would have been possible without all that love and support I got from my family. I'll have a chance to say goodbye to everybody on December 10th. This is a good practice for me. So I will keep this short. I started in the office in June of 2009. The kids were 1 and 4 at the time. They were so little they didn't even hit their heads on my desk. So they've grown up in our office. Like I said, 1 is now in college, 1 is on deck. He's going away next year. A lot to process. I'll be an empty nester with my husband soon. But time flies when you work at the city. We move from one crisis to the next, yet the work is rewarding and interesting. There is not a day where I don't learn something new. It's been a wonderful opportunity, one that I have cherished, and I will miss working here. I've had the chance to work on projects that change our state's trajectory. That was the case when we started our gun violence prevention program back in 2017. And using our state's red flag laws, we've disarmed more than 1,500 dangerous people. And cities throughout the state have followed our lead. How often is it that you get a chance like that to make real impact? We brought affirmative litigation to protect consumers, workers, and our environment, and our work has changed lives. Just ask the workers at Instacart. We secured $46.5 million in unpaid wages on their behalf. Or the people who will benefit because we challenged opioid manufacturers. We negotiated the sale of the stadium, and we've watched it blossom into a thriving entertainment center that will benefit students for generations to come. And we did our fair share of cleanup work, from 101 Ash to restoring benefits after pension reform failed. The work wasn't always pleasant, but we never hesitated to roll up our sleeves and get the job done. What was best for the city was my guiding star, even if that meant standing alone and taking shots for it. And that happened more times than I care to remember. It is and always will be a privilege to serve. Thank you to the public for the honor of allowing me to serve you for 15 years. And thank you again for that very humbling recognition, very meaningful, and I will miss all of you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. you'd like, we can step down for a photo.
Ted, why don't we invite the deputy city attorneys to fill the gallery and we can stand up here? Is that okay? Yeah. Yeah, come on in. Anyone in the city attorney's office, come on down, come on down.
Fun. I know. Why do they? We're gonna. I know this always happens. Can we make a couple rows? Thank you.
She's ready like that. And thank you for my 1 minute of public comment. I'll see you my time. Someone's called out the sororities one. I appreciate that. Not gonna work. The Connie's girlies are sweating. It'll have to be a 0.5, I fear. Do you want it? 0.5 or I know. I can't. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3. Today. Right, this is back my last day, no 2 weeks. Oh my God. Yeah. You are. Okay. That is just
All right, so we've got a motion on the floor to approve the proclamation items put forward by Councilmember Campbell. It was seconded by Councilmember Lee. We'll do a voice vote for this. All those in favor of approving the proclamation items, please say aye. Anybody opposed? No one. That would be very strange and awkward. So that passes unanimously, and we will now move to our morning discussion agenda with item 330 first. Clerk, if you'd please introduce that item.
Thank you, Council President. Item 330 is confirming the Ethics Commission's appointment of an executive director. Please be sure to raise your hand by pressing *9 or the raise your hand icon if you'd like to speak to this item virtually. Or if you are here in council chambers, please be sure to submit your speaker slip to the high lectern. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Clerk. All right, once our presenter is ready, please introduce yourself for the record and let us know how much time you'd like for this this item, please?
Hi, for those that don't know me, my name is Paul Cooper. I'm the current chair of the San Diego Ethics Commission. I also have Pam Derby here, who is a manager and executive recruiter from CPS HR, our outside recruitment firm. In the audience, we have Sharon Spivak, the current executive director, as well as the newly appointed executive director, Bryn Kervin. Earlier this year, we were informed that our current executive director of the commission, Sharon Spivak, would be retiring. This was a devastating blow. She's been excellent. She came to us in 2020 and has done extraordinary work. As soon as we learned this, we obviously immediately began the process to try to replace her. In April, the commission voted to retain CPS HR as our outside recruitment firm. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Pam to give you a brief overview of her efforts and the firm's efforts to replace the executive director position.
Good morning. Good morning, Council President, council members. Thank you for having us. We did start this recruitment during the summer. We ran it for 60 days. It was open until filled. We advertised it with the appropriate pages, including the Ethics Compliance Initiative and the Council on Governmental Ethics. It was distributed around the country to more than 5,000 industry professionals. That effort and our follow-up efforts in contacting individuals who would be a good fit for this position garnered 126 resumes. Of that, it is required to have a Juris Doctorate for this role. 32 of the individuals had JDs. Initially, we identified 11 individuals. An ad hoc committee of the commission was chosen. 3 members of the commission formed an ad hoc committee to assist with the first stages of the recruitment process. They then reviewed the rest of the resumes with those candidates that possessed a JD and identified 2 additional candidates for screening interviews, which we screened 13 candidates, and then the ad hoc committee chose 6 of that group for their panel interview. They did those interviews here in San Diego in person, but the candidates were virtual. However, the commission members were together. From that, they decided on 2 finalists who we moved to reference checks, and then that resulted in the appointment of Ms. Kervin. I will say that it was a very strong pool. We had candidates from even outside of the state running different types of ethics organizations who applied, so it was a very attractive position.
Thank you, Pam. As she mentioned earlier this month at our regularly scheduled commission meeting, we discussed in open session the appointment of Bryn Kervin as the new executive director. After that discussion, the commission voted unanimously to appoint her as the next executive director. Assuming she is confirmed today, Ms. Kervin will start on January 7th, 2025, and be trained by Sharon Spivak, who will then retire in March of 2025. Bryn Kervin has an impressive background. She's been serving the public for over 25 years as a district attorney. She was a trial attorney for over a decade with nearly 60 jury trials under her belt. Then in 2010, which is relevant for the current position, she became the ethics coordinator for the entire DA's office, where she spearheaded the ethics and professionalism training for all 300 attorneys in the DA's office. She has also provided ethics training and advice statewide. In 2016, she was tapped to create a new practice area in the office involving conviction review, which examines post-conviction claims of innocence as well as sentence review. She comes with glowing recommendations, and we're excited to have her and think she will make an excellent executive director. And with that, that's the end of our presentation.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Cooper, for that. Do we have public comment on this item?
Yes, we do. We have Blair Beekman and Cesar Javier. Blair Beekman, if you can please come forward. You'll have 2 minutes.
Hi, thank you, Blair Beekman. In being from San Jose, I find it interesting in a number of issues. There's a lot of similarities in the way our local California cities work. For instance, gun safety measures, as that was being talked about on the work of the city attorney here, years of good work on it. It was really impressive to hear. San Jose also has quite a bit of their own list of good gun safety practices that they're trying to do. And with issues of ethics commissions, the city of Oakland is going through some of the similar process of defining ethics standards for their commission process in the future. Interestingly, it's different a bit than what you're working on here in San Diego, yet it's still the concepts of working on ethics issues and what the future of this sort of commission will be about for our community. We're trying to learn to expand that role, and at the same time realizing that expansion comes at a certain price, and we have to be very mindful what we're doing. And it's an interesting time, and good luck in the work that we'll be doing with this sort of item. We're trying to learn to broaden our scope and how we address our issues, and hopefully we can do that in a way that's decent and formal and that polite in how to develop conversation about our ideas for the future of our community life. And this sort of commission can help much in that process. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Cesar Javier. Cesar Javier.
Cesar Javier. Mr. Elo Rivera, City Council President, I wrote the Tenant Protection Ordinance, the power balance between landlords, etc. Political posters we receive in our community, West Bank of. This is one of the ethics sphere that we are afraid in the selection process. It's just like a treatment plant to process sewage, water contaminant, and produce a pure water. A project of the city that the money spent goes along with the free will and free will, W-I-L-L, ethics. I am against, at this time, state and condition because we need a public servant that is honest and wise. Give time to reflect who are the candidates. Look at their body languages. Look at the words they project to the minds of the public, especially for those have-nots and victims of environmental issues, problems, that is dubbed now as emergency. No. This
Thank
time,
you for that concluding comment.
let's treat them well. Thank you.
Thank you for that concluding comment. I started the 5-minute timer here in council chambers, going to Lori Saldana in the virtual queue. If you can please unmute. We currently just have one speaker.
Good morning. Yes, thank you. I served as a member of the State Assembly's Ethics Committee and participated in an investigation that led to the resignation of an assembly member. And what I learned during that process is that understanding ethics in politics is a bit like watching a water polo match. Many of the violations that impact the results are taking place out of sight and below the surface of what others are able to see. So you may see the most egregious actions, but until an ethics oversight committee does the research, you don't really see the extent of those violations and the network that led to what ultimately became public on the surface. So I encourage the new director and commissioners to consider expanding your purview beyond simply those of us who have been elected officials or candidates, and review activities of people who are not themselves currently elected officials, but might aspire to become elected one day. And that includes appointees to the various boards and commissions. They are nominated and ultimately confirmed by elected officials, and presumably they reflect the ethics of those people who do the nominations and confirmations. And if they are found to be in violation of codes of conduct, of reasonable ways of interacting with the public, then consider that red flags of not only how they might act should they go into office themselves someday, but also, is that behavior condoned by the people who nominated and confirmed them? So I wish this commission success, and I would just encourage you to look below the surface, because just as in water polo, there's a lot going on out of view that impacts the final score. Thank you.
Thank you. And that does conclude public comment on item 330. For the record, this item did not receive any comments in favor or opposition via e-comment.
Okay,
Then consider that.
Sorry, your time had concluded.
All right, thank you so much. So with that, I will go ahead and move approval of the recommendation to, confirming the Ethics Commission's appointment of Bryn Kervin to serve as the Executive Director, serving initially in the temporary unclassified position of Commission Executive Director, effective March 19th, 2025, and I will turn to Council President Pro Tem LaCava.
Happy to second that motion. Making a few comments. One, thank you, Ms. Spivak. This is kind of a tough day. We're going to lose Madam City Attorney. We're losing you. But thank you for your years of service. I think I first met you back during redistricting way back when. So you've been an extraordinary leader. And so you leave very big shoes to fill going forward. There's a little bit of irony in today's action because on Election Day, we did pass Measure D, which actually takes the hands of appointing the executive director out of the city council's hands. However, that is not law yet. The days you count are very, very important. So this will be the last time that the city council will actually weigh in on this appointment, which will presumably not happen for many, many years. So we look to a long and fruitful service of Ms. Kervin. I wanted to give you an opportunity to offer a few words in terms of how you see leadership taking over from Ms. Spivak, what we can look forward to, any changes or what you might be maintaining, or now with new Measure D in place, which changes the rules a little bit, how you see that affects your role.
Thank you, Council President Elo Rivera, President Pro Tem LaCava, council members. It's a privilege to be here today. I have been a public servant for nearly 28 years and find deep meaning in being a public servant. And I'm looking forward to continuing my service to the public for the city of San Diego. My view is to truly be a servant, to meet the needs of the staff so that they can do their jobs effectively, and also the needs of the commission. My view is much like the city, or excuse me, the county's motto, which is the noblest motive is the public good. And I took that on very seriously as a deputy district attorney. I plan to do the same thing, but also take on the motto of the city of San Diego, and that is Semper Vigilans, which is always ready, always vigilant. My view as a leader is to always be ready in further educating the public, further educating the employees of the city of San Diego, and to assist you in raising you up so that you are able to continue to foster public confidence in what you do. And that is through making sure that we further develop and carry on the legacy of Ms. Spivak in the various programs of the commission. So that is certainly my hope, is to foster open communication, good relationships, and be here as a resource so that all of you feel that you have the tools you need to have a deep understanding of what can sometimes be complex in terms of the various ethic rules that govern your public service. So that is certainly what I hope to do, and I hope to make you proud that you can say that you have an ethics commission that really helps to foster public confidence.
All right, thank you very much for that. I know one of the other things in Measure D was giving the executive director authority to initiate investigations without actually waiting for the commission to kind of grant that. And so I see a new era, as you said, following the footsteps of Ms. Spivak. Looking forward to it. So I want to thank everybody involved in the recruitment and the interviewing process. That is not easy given how many qualified individuals could be considered for this job, but very excited about that. So thank you for your willingness to serve and to serve the city of San Diego and San Diegans. So thank you for that.
Thank you. It's a privilege.
So I'll close with that. And again, happy to second the motion, Council President.
All right, thank you, Council President Pro Tem. Councilmember Von Wilpert.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation and the work and all the research that went into this. So just so the public knows, the City Council, at least I had no part in doing any of this. So I want everyone to know this was picked solely by the commission and by the executive director. We are now confirming under the law, but this really was done, well, maybe not the executive director, okay, but everyone in the commission. This truly is a reflection of the ethics community choosing you. Ms. Kervin, I'm wondering if you can come back up to the mic. I have another question for you. One, I also see in your resume that you are a volunteer at the Scripps Ranch Library. I appreciate you. So you might be a District 5 resident. If you are, wonderful. Again, we have no part in taking and hiring other than confirming. One question I have for you is a lot of city council members, this is our first time running for office, and there's a lot of folks who are excited and may not know all the ethical rules. And so how will you practically reach out, especially to first-time candidates, so that they do understand the font size that has to be used? You have to have your FPPC number here. You have to do these things. How would you reach out to first-time candidates?
Well, being new to this, I'm looking forward to the 3 months of tutelage underneath Ms. Spivak. I'm so grateful that you all allowed that 3-month overlap. I am not currently personally familiar with the educated program, but I know it's quite robust. And you looking at this right now as an outsider, not yet being an insider, and having run the training programs, the various training programs at the district attorney's office, and also being involved in helping represent my colleagues in prosecutorial misconduct allegations, my thought would be to make that a priority, in that education is the key. You don't want to have to be in a situation where someone's made a mistake and you have to open an investigation. Obviously, that may or will happen eventually with someone somewhere sometime, but education is the key, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that it is user-friendly, that we're proactive, that there's open communication, and that we're doing what we need to do to, have the tools in the toolbox for those who are running for office that they need. And so one of the first things I'll be doing is to evaluating what that looks like right now, and to make sure that moving forward, people have what they need, so they're not running into, errors that could have been avoided.
Wonderful. Fantastic. I also want to thank the current staff. Ryan in particular has always been available for a phone call for anything. It's been really nice to be able to just ask questions proactively. Well, I'm excited for you. Thank you for taking this on. It's exciting to have somebody who has worked to oversee ethics before, who has worked to oversee prosecutorial discretion. As a criminal prosecutor, you have big shoes to fill. Sharon, I even failed to list that Sharon Spivak was a deputy city attorney as well, so it's another list of accomplishments under Mara Elliott's tenure. But Sharon, thank you for all your work on the Ethics Commission. It's been a pleasure working with you as well. You're not saying goodbye yet. We're not going to say goodbye to you, but we will. Expect to be hauled back in here for Sharon Spivak Day. But congratulations on your appointment, and thank you for working with the city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Von Wolpert. All right, we have a motion on the floor that I made, Council President Pro Tem seconded. I do appreciate you pointing out, Councilmember Von Wolpert, that this is a confirmation. That's actually why I made the motion without asking any questions or anything. Wanted to make sure that folks knew we were accepting the recommendation from the Ethics Commission, no questions asked. Literally, we are, I think appropriately deferential to the independence of that body and the independence that they will continue to have and even more so in next year. So we've got a motion, we've got a second. There's a slight modification to the language on the screen, but I don't think that needs to be read out again. With that, clerk, please call the roll.
I've started the voting system. Please cast your vote. And that does pass unanimously, 8-0 with Councilmember Campillo absent. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Ms. Kervin. Thank you for stepping up. With that, let's now move to item S500. Before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping. We will trail virtual non-agenda public comment in the interest of time management this morning. Clerk, if you please introduce item S500.
Item S500 is the agreement satisfying and terminating obligations under the 2004 transfer agreement and amending 2004 city option in relation to property located at 1100 Kettner Boulevard. If you are here to speak on this item, please be sure to submit your speaker slip to the high lectern, or if you are participating virtually, please be sure to raise your hand by pressing *9 or the raise your hand icon. For the record, there was one e-comment in favor and one e-comment in opposition for item S500 that was submitted and was distributed to the council. Thank you.
Right. Once our presenters are ready, please introduce yourselves for the record and let us know how much time you'd like to request for this item.
Good morning, Council President and Council members. My name is Michael Wong, Program Manager for the Successor Agency in Economic Development. And with me today is Colleen Smith, representing UC San Diego. I will need approximately 8 minutes for my presentation.
All right, please proceed.
The item before you today is the consideration of the proposed agreement satisfying and terminating obligations under the 2004 transfer agreement and amending the 2004 city option for the property located at 1100 Kettner Boulevard. Today, we are asking that the City Council approve the agreement, authorize the mayor to sign and deliver all documents necessary to implement the transaction, and authorize the CFO to establish the B Street Corridor Fund. For an overview, the property we are discussing today is located at 1100 Kettner Boulevard, also known as the former baggage building at a Santa Fe depot. The site is currently owned by the Museum of Contemporary Art. In 1998, the former redevelopment agency entered into an owner participation agreement with Catellus for the redevelopment of the property, which then transferred to the museum on 2004. As part of this transfer, the former agency entered into a transfer agreement and required that the site be used for cultural or institutional uses and agreed to pay $150,000 towards the B Street Corridor public improvements in the future. Earlier this year, the museum informed the city that they had entered into a purchase and sale agreement for the museum's sale of the property to UC San Diego and is now seeking the city's requirement consent to the sale. As part of this consent, the city has been working with the museum and UCSD to come to an agreement that benefits all parties and provides clarifications as to the rights and obligations of the city and UCSD. At a high level, this slide outlines the relevant documents associated with the property. These include the 1983 owner participation agreement, the amended and restated owner participation agreement, and the 2004 transfer agreement, which transfers the property to the museum and includes two specific contracts. The grant deed, which transfers property from the Catellus to the museum, and the option agreement, which granted to the city an exclusive option to acquire the property at no cost to the city in the event of default on or after July 31st, 2091. As part of the negotiation for the city to approve the sale from the museum to UCSD, all three parties have come to an agreement on an amendment that will satisfy intended obligations, provide clarity to originally agreed upon terms, and the required consent of the city. The sale will facilitate the immediate funding of $150,000 to assist in the improvements for the B Street pedestrian corridor, which is directly adjacent to the property. It clarifies the city's option to acquire the site in 2091. The city negotiated to be included on the grant deed and retains the intended uses stated as uses by institutions displaying or preserving objects of interest in one or more of the arts and sciences, such as museums, libraries, and art galleries, and allows a portion of the property to be used for certain ancillary purposes, such as a cafe or a gift shop. Additionally, approval of the agreement preserves the existing use restrictions, provides clarifications, and consolidates various rights and obligations of the parties. And finally, it allows the city to acquire the property in the future at no cost to the city. UCSD has committed to be a partner with the city and shares the city's vision to utilize this site as a public arts, cultural, and educational facility as currently stated in the covenants. This language will not change with the amendment and subsequent council action. I will now let Colleen Smith with UC San Diego explain their vision and plans for the site.
Good morning, council and community members. As a native San Diegan, a proud product of our nonprofit arts ecosystem, and the executive director of the Campus Performances and Events Office at UC San Diego, I'm pleased to share with you our vision for 1100 Kettner Boulevard, or the Depot as we're affectionately calling it. UC San Diego plans to transform the Depot into a dynamic, multidisciplinary arts incubator and cultural hub that will enhance San Diego's arts landscape and strengthen community connections. We aim to create an adaptable art space where diverse artists, organizations, and audiences can converge to create, collaborate, and connect. We see this as an important pipeline that will attract and keep talent in San Diego and a bridge to and from our campus, not just for students and artists, but for every member of our community. This effort aligns with the city's vision to reimagine the historic train depot for cultural purposes, and it supports the recently released draft of the Creative City Cultural Plan. It also aligns with the refresh of UC San Diego's campus strategic plan, which includes arts and activation as priority initiatives. Rather than a rental model, we are pursuing a residency or incubator operational approach for local artists and nonprofits, where we would not only provide adaptable studio, rehearsal, exhibition, gallery, and performance space, but also administrative infrastructure and support to provide a much-needed runway for them to become sustainable. This isn't a new idea. MCASD had started down this path with residencies for two nonprofit organizations, Blind Spot Collective and Disco Riot. And we do plan to honor the commitments of those organizations who were impacted greatly by the flooding of this space. Part of the important work ahead will be to determine an equitable way to select additional artists and nonprofits for these residencies. But we do know that we want the space to focus on contemporary, innovative work that represents historically underrepresented voices in the arts, as well as by national collaborations. As we've yet to take ownership of the building, we are in the very early stages of sharing this vision for the property with the community. And this item is a very key piece for us to move forward. We've started meeting with artists and organizations to share the vision, and I was pleased to attend the first of what will be many conversations with the community yesterday at a special meeting for the Commission of Arts and Culture. It's clear that our community is also passionate about the potential for 1100 Kettner, and we're committed to an ongoing process to engage with the public as we design this sustainable cultural hub. After we acquire the building, we do plan to engage with expert consultants with a proven track record at creating adaptable global destination art spaces. We also will engage with local experts and involve them in the process as well. This will include focus groups, more conversations, individual interviews out in the community to help us understand the pressing needs, determine which of the needs we can address at the depot, and ultimately design a sustainable model that reflects what we learn. We also plan to have an advisory group that will be ongoing for the space. The revitalized venue will include dedicated artist studios, administrative offices for small nonprofit organizations, a rehearsal studio, as well as the adaptable exhibition gallery performance spaces to serve both the visual and performing arts. We do plan to make a substantial financial investment, anticipated to be over $15 million, to revitalize the facility. This will include a seismic retrofit, HVAC replacement, repair of Jenny Holzer's artwork, maintenance and conservation of the site-specific artworks in the building, and additional upgrades to ensure the space is flexible, accessible, and welcoming for the entire community. Additionally, we're committed to providing annual operational and outreach support to create a sustainable cultural destination. We anticipate launching in late 2026, but part of the building will also remain open during the time of that work. And I'm happy to pass it back to Michael.
Thank you. Therefore, staff recommends that the City Council approve the agreement satisfying and terminating obligations under the 2004 transfer agreement and amending the 2004 city option. Authorize the mayor or designee to sign and deliver the agreement and take all actions and sign all additional documents necessary to implement the agreement, and authorize the chief financial officer to establish a separate interest-bearing account for the B Street Corridor Fund. This concludes our presentation. Representatives from UCSD and the museum are also available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's hear public comment, please. Oh, actually, really quick, so a little bit more housekeeping, just because we've got quite a bit of comment here. We will likely trail the last discussion item of the morning and in-person non-agenda public comment. I apologize if anyone came here specifically for non-agenda public comment. If you don't mind, before we begin the public comment on this item, if you've shown up only for non-agenda public comment, if you don't mind letting the clerk know that, and we'll try to account for that as we make our decisions about time management moving forward. But with that, let's hear non-agenda public comment on this, or excuse me, the public comment on this item, please.
We do have quite an amount of speakers. There's about 25 speakers. If I can please call you up to the front row to the yellow reserve seats to make it adequate for proper meeting management. Alec Para Miranda, Carlos Mendoza, Steve Strauss, Catherine Kanjo, Caitlin Chell, Michael Critchman, Krista Reynolds, Ryan Mayshiro, Eric Keene, Louie, Megan Carr Mitchell, and then I'll call the others as soon as these clear. It will be 1 minute apiece, starting with Alec. If you can please come to the microphone. Alec's not here. Going once, going twice. Carlos Mendoza.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos Mendoza, and I'm the Director of Education and Outreach at Signet Theater. Well, I've dedicated my career to creating opportunities for artists and ensuring that arts education remains a vibrant and integral part of our community. At Signet, we are thrilled to build a new theater at Liberty Station, and I view UC San Diego's vision for 1100 Kettner Boulevard as a remarkable step toward and addressing the challenges in our arts community. San Diego has long struggled with a shortage of adaptable, accessible art spaces. The project presents an incredible opportunity to bridge those gaps by establishing a hub where artists from all disciplines can innovate, collaborate, and thrive. I'm particularly inspired by that focus. UC San Diego's commitment to supporting artists shines through initiatives like the Launchpad program, which has already given local artists a platform to develop and share work. At Signet Theater, we are proud to stand with that organization and
Your time has
institution.
concluded, sir. That was the
Thank
thing.
you.
Thank you for your concluding comment. After that, Steve Strauss. Steve Strauss, you have time ceded to you by Rekha Kapani. If you can please raise your hand. Thank you. You'll have 2 minutes. Please proceed.
I believe also our CEO, Catherine Canjo, has ceded time. Good morning.
Sure, I'll mark it in her slip. It wasn't notated, but you'll have 3 minutes then.
Good morning, council members. My name is Steve Strauss, and I'm the board president for MCASD. And we thank you for the opportunity to speak at this milestone in the journey of a major cultural center in downtown San Diego. And on behalf of our board, I want to thank the council and I want to thank the staff for the diligence and the recommendation. And I wish I had a little more time because I wanted to share a little bit with you the story of how this transaction came to be. Because MCASD has spent over 20 years investing in this property, $35 million, and made a strategic and financial decision, led in part by me as the board president, to offer the property for sale. And the first thing I wanted to do was assure everybody here in this room that this was an open and transparent process. We listed this property for sale publicly in February of this year. And we did not begin negotiations with UCSD until April. And during that period of time, we had several buyers and interested parties. But of course, it was a condition that the property be preserved and maintained for cultural, educational, and institutional uses, which by definition, UCSD satisfied. So it was our greatest joy when UCSD stepped up and said, we want to expand the arts into downtown San Diego and take a key cultural space and revitalize it and invest $15 million. So it's a win all the way around. And it's also a win for MCASD because our legacy continues. We have many site-specific works at the building that you may have seen. I mean, one of the most iconic works in our country, Richard Serra's site-specific Santa Fe Depot. And UCSD is committed to maintain and display those works. And they're on loan to them in perpetuity as long as they own the property. So this is ideal because not only do we bring a new partner to the arts, but we continue the partnership and collaboration between the institutions. So I think this is a wonderful day. We have looked forward to addressing you on it. And of course, we think it should be approved. I've heard there's some opposition. And I've heard a falsehood of an argument that I want to address in case you hear it from some of these speakers. And I've heard that MCASD didn't continuously operate the property and the city should have just taken it back for no cost. And you should know that we operated the property for over 15 years, from 2007 on. It was operated continuously. There was never a single notice of default. So the city would have no legal ability to take the property back. Any argument to the contrary is a complete falsehood. And indeed, proving this transaction is the best of all worlds because now you have a trusted, funded partner with vision that will continue this innovative and collaborative space for the benefit of the community.
Thank you for that concluding comment.
And save city resources. So thank you. I urge approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you for the concluding comment. Just for the record, if she could raise her hand, Catherine, thank you so much. We did give you that additional minute. Caitlin Chell?
Good morning, Council President and members of the City Council. My name is Caitlin Chell. I am the Executive Director of Government and Community Relations for UC San Diego. I am here on behalf of Chancellor Pradeep Khosla. We obviously support this item and ask for your yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Critchman?
Thank you very much. I'm Michael Critchman. I'm the Executive Director of Insight. My organization was the first cultural user of the depot space, commissioning works of art beginning in 1994. We also very much supported the museum's competitive bid to acquire the depot in 2004. And I'm here today to support this transaction under the circumstances in which we find ourselves, including the museum's decision to close and sell what is considered one of the finest spaces for cutting-edge contemporary site-specific and installation art in the country. It's a decision that I'm afraid the museum or future administrations of the museum will question and ultimately regret. The second is the city's decision not to exercise the option under the 2004 transfer agreement. I disagree with Mr. Strauss's characterization of the continuous operation of the museum. And frankly, I disagree with your staff's characterization of the terms of that option. But having said all of that, my time is up and I support this motion, and we look forward to working with UCSD
Thank
to
you.
make this still a great space.
Thank you for that
contemporary art.
concluding comment. Krista Reynolds?
Hello, my name is Krista Reynolds. I'm a San Diego-based performing and visual artist. I have been in this artist community for 35 years, and I have seen unbelievable talent grow right here amongst us. Yet the space to share these gifts are at a premium, as we know, with the cost of life in San Diego. The majority of artists have extremely limited resources and ability to have their work seen. And adding to this challenge, the current political changes in our country come with so much uncertainty for our arts community. But I'm just so thrilled to hear of UCSD's commitment to developing a multidisciplinary art space in Kettner. I see the UC San Diego is an institution where the leadership supports arts and culture, not just in words, but clear actions. And they have the funds to get this exciting new venture of the depot acquired. And I am confident that they will stick to the promise and give San Diego a space where art will not only be displayed and curated in all its form, but where nonprofits can afford a space and get legs to support themselves in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Brian. Brian, okay, you're getting up. After that will be Eric Keen Louie, Megan Carmichael, Blake McCarty, Disha Crownover, Nathan Nonhoff, Joe Ikau, and Natasha Gomez. Those that have already spoken and are in the front row, if you can please move back to your original seats or anywhere else so that these individuals can definitely come forward and sit in the first row. Please proceed, Ryan.
Hello, I'm Ryan Maisha, the General Manager of La Jolla Playhouse, and I'm here to support to show my support for UC San Diego's purchase of 1100 Kettner. The Playhouse has a mission to create new and the next in American theater, and through our Without Walls programming, we extend beyond our stages in La Jolla and into various communities around San Diego. We partner with local artists on creating art outside of the traditional theater walls. And the WOW programming co-presented La Lucha in the summer of 2023 at 1100 Kettner. This world premiere project was developed by Optica Moderna and employed over 40 local artists. Our observation during that project is that downtown San Diego is craving a new immersive cultural experiences. 1100 Kettner creates a location to bring large experiences to San Diego that currently may only be available to audiences in Denver, Chicago, New York, or London. In the Playhouse and Without Walls programming, we look forward to continue our long relationship with UC San Diego and Art Power. Thank you.
Thank you for that concluding comment. Eric?
Hi, my name is Eric Louie. I'm the Artistic Producing Director at La Jolla Playhouse. I'm here today to support UC San Diego taking ownership of 1100 Kettner Boulevard. One of our goals of our Without Walls program is to support local artists in the development of site-specific and immersive work and bring that art for free and low cost to audiences around the county. La Jolla Playhouse has successfully partnered with UCSD to present our annual Without Walls Festival on campus, and we are excited about the prospect of building upon that collaboration in downtown San Diego, particularly because it opens up audience accessibility to this work, given the depot's close proximity to the trolley and train. We believe it is crucial to support San Diego's local artistic ecosystem and continue to take a bigger role in the global conversation around creating new theater. UC San Diego's vision for the depot puts the resources into continuing to build San Diego as a vital artistic city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Megan. Megan Carmichael, no. Blake McCartney.
Morning, my name is Blake McCarty, and I'm here as the Executive Director of Blind Spot Collective, a nonprofit theater company that is dedicated to community-centered work here in San Diego. Until 2023, we had no permanent space and now operate out of 1100 Kettner. In partnership with both MCASD and Disco Riot, we've enhanced the space with lighting, sound, a sprung floor, and have worked to turn it into a vital resource for local artists. It's become a place where creativity thrives, hosting multiple projects and companies simultaneously. Our programs have a profound impact. We premiered a play based on interviews with Filipino veterans of World War II and launched productions for youth, including a show that's currently touring to over 70 schools in the county. community. Despite the setbacks of the flooding last winter, we know how transformative this space can be. For that reason, we're here to support UC San Diego's acquisition of the building as we envision 1100 Kettner becoming a multidisciplinary arts hub that connects academia with local artists and audiences, benefiting the entire San Diego community. Thank you for your consideration and your commitment to the future of arts in our city.
Thank you. Next is Disha Crownover.
Hello, I'm Desha Crownover, Executive Director of San Diego Junior Theater and a lifelong advocate for young people and the arts in San Diego. As an educator, I know the need for more spaces where family and youth can connect with the arts. UC San Diego's vision for 1100 Kettner isn't just about a building. It's a true cultural hub where students and families can enjoy performances, exhibitions, and workshops and inspire all ages. This space also opens doors for those starting their artistic journeys. It provides crucial internships, mentorships, and career-building opportunities that let young people learn directly from professionals and find their voices. The commitment to supporting community-driven work is clear as we're seeing through collaborations with Blind Spot Collective and Disco Riot. Junior Theater hosted a Blind Spot production for young audience that reached thousands of pre-K through second graders, and it's an experience that would be impossible without a dedicated space for development. This project will strengthen San Diego as a place where artists can create and youth feel part of our cultural fabric. Thank you for considering this vision for our city.
Thank you. Next is Nathan Nonhoff. After that will be Joe, Natasha, Jennifer DePoyen, Blair Beekman, and Cesar Javier. You can start coming forward. Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. My name is Nathan Nonhoff. I'm a theater artist who moved to San Diego last year with the vision of the city's commitment to new and inclusive work that uplifts historically excluded communities. And so since arriving, I've met some artists and thinkers and creators who all share this vision of meaningful art. And that's what we need most urgently in this space. And this space is a place to collaborate and build those things. So 1100 Kettner could be that home. It's more than a building. It's a space where artists can, like me, we can invest our talents in a city that truly values the arts. With UC San Diego's involvement, this building can bridge the gap for students and alumni between academic and professional careers and foster those connections across San Diego. This acquisition just wouldn't be a part for local artists. It would make San Diego a hub for creativity. It would attract people who want to build lives and share their work here. That's what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Joe. Joey Cow.
Good morning. I'm Joe Cal, Director of Restaurants and Bars at the Weston Gas Lamp, and also a small business owner in the Convoys District. After living and working in San Diego for over a decade, I know how much a neighborhood's character and community support mean for local businesses. As a downtown resident, I believe in investing in cultural spaces will strengthen our community. Downtown's unique energy grows every time people come for a show or an exhibit, supporting restaurants, shops, and hotels like the Westin. UCSD's vision for 1100 Kettner as an arts hub will bring lasting economic benefits, inviting locals and tourists alike to explore and engage with our neighborhood. This project has the power to create a ripple effect, boosting growth and enhancing downtown's identity. I look forward to seeing new faces at the Westin and other businesses and welcoming everyone to a more vibrant San Diego. Thank you so much for the consideration.
Natasha Gomez.
Hello, good afternoon, council members. My name is Natasha Gomez. I am a local artist here in San Diego. I was born and raised here, and I've had the privilege of working in the 1100 Kettner space for many years now with the support of Blind Spot, the nonprofit. Most notably, I was in the La Lucha production there in 2023, where we were able to transform that space into a really incredible immersive experience that welcomed many diverse communities and populations into this art hub. I'm here in support of UCSD's takeover, and I appreciate you for considering all of the local artists here in San Diego who hope to make this building a home in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jennifer.
I represent Space for Art, a community of 35 artists in D3 and 8. The city granted the museum this historic site as a public trust. This transfer occurred after a robust public process and came with stringent conditions so the museum would uphold that trust, which they did for a long time. It included a take-back provision that has been mischaracterized by both city staff and by Mr. Strauss. Earlier this year, when the museum unilaterally moved to sell the site, the city elected with no public input or debate to forego its right to take back this key visual arts venue and valuable historical property and determine its future through a public process. This is despite the fact that the museum was technically in default of the agreement, even if no formal notices had been issued by the city. Consider, the public has been shut out. This transfer will financially benefit the museum, not the city, not the public. The transfer's watered-down provisions threatens the site's future as a serious visual arts venue.
Thank you for that
UCSD
concluding
may
comment.
well be a good steward of this site,
Your time has
but there
concluded,
should be a
ma'am.
public process and strong city oversight.
Your time has concluded, ma'am. If you have any additional comments, you can email them to cityclerk@sandiego.gov, and we will be sure to distribute them to the council. Next is Blair Beekman. Blair Beekman, I see you in the hallway. Would you like to speak on this item? Thank you so much. Cesar Javier?
No. No. The city, Uncle Sam's house, says no. But we appreciate your marketing on arts, entertainment. Nice vision. Excellent. Uncle Sam says no. No, 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 no. Because this is my property. I have something for it. Because I'm going to house my homeless people. I would provide my people with clean air, clean food, clean and safe neighborhood. And this is a public land. We own it. Please, let us be honest and wise. Don't sell it. 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 Be honest and wise.
Thank you. Your time has concluded. I've started the 5-minute timer here in council chambers, going to those participating remotely. We currently have 5 individuals with their hands raised. You will get 1 minute each. Jimena Villaseñor Martinez, if you can please unmute.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Council President Elo Rivera and council members. My name is Jimena Villaseñor, and speaking on behalf of the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce. We represent over 2,200 member businesses and over 300,000 jobs. And our mission is to make the San Diego region the best place to live and work. We want to express our support for UC San Diego's acquisition of the 1100 Kettner property. UCSD's planned revitalization of the property as an active art space will attract more patrons to downtown, benefiting other local businesses and generating additional economic activity in the area. In addition to that, the university's commitment to providing space and support at the property for local artists and creative nonprofits will strengthen our local creative economy, which is a priority for both the chamber and the city. And we believe that this acquisition will be a key driver of economic and artistic growth in downtown, and we encourage the council to support this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Joel H. If you can please unmute.
Good afternoon, Council President and Council members. My name is Joel Hermosillo with the Downtown San Diego Partnership. I serve as the Director of Business Engagement, here to express our support for item S500. For over 3 decades, the Downtown San Diego Partnership has remained committed to bolstering the economic prosperity and enriching the cultural vitality of downtown. UC San Diego's vision for an active arts incubator will not only enrich our culture and landscape, but also drive significant foot traffic to local businesses. The influx of visitors, artists, and event attendees will continue to enhance downtown's vibrancy, creating economic benefits to our community. The Downtown San Diego Partnership is proud to work every day towards a more vibrant and inviting downtown for our residents, workforce, and visitors. In this spirit, we ask you to support item S500 as we continue to strengthen our urban core. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Leah, if you can please unmute.
Good morning, Mayor Gloria, Council President Elo, and council members. My name is Leah Goodwin. I live at 6116 Caminito Pan, and my comment on this item is to express my sadness in the lack of transparency or open process prior to this decision to sell the building to UCSD, an educational institution with a track record of not being inclusive. It is not a museum or a cultural institution. I was able to hear the presentation and I have real concerns, and the issue is inclusion. Can we suggest that they do not hire an outside consultant, that they work with the City of San Diego Department of Cultural Affairs, and that the makeup of the advisory committee include representation from our designated cultural districts, the Black Art Cultural District, Barrio Logan, and Convoy districts? The community is watching. Does the UCSD Eurocentric team or their proposed constituents have the awareness, track record, or community to succeed? Or will it be another broken promise?
Thank you for that concluding comment. Two more speakers left in the queue. Lori Saldana, if you can please unmute.
Good morning. Thank you. Yes, I'd like to, a mention was made of Center City Development Corporation being involved with this transfer initially. I'd like to encourage you to consider that document that was created by them 20 years ago, looking at the history of Black settlement and Black migration to San Diego using the trains. As a previous speaker noted, we have some historically disadvantaged and underrepresented communities that would benefit from having dedicated space in this art complex. So I want to encourage you to include language that requires some representation from our historic Black community in downtown San Diego that has been pushed out of downtown, doesn't have any space, and would benefit from this in a way that I think is appropriate and fitting, given the history of this, and also, again, given the document that the Center City Development Corporation did 20 years ago related to Black settlement in the downtown area. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final speaker is 7968. If you can please unmute, *6, 7968.
Thank you. Joyce Inata, District 3. I have to just speak from what I know. So I want to thank CCDC. I moved here in 2004 and become very involved in activism in 2005. So I want to thank them. I want to thank the successor agency. And MCSD, I loved you. I love you still. I went to many, many events at the museum, and I loved them. You had such wonderful events. A lot of them were free. They were fabulous. The community was welcomed, all the community. And so thank you, thank you. I will miss you there. So I don't know how to express the approval on this. It seems legally pretty complicated. So, but I do approve it, and I ask the city council to look thoroughly at, you know, what this is made up of. I think that's important. Love the depot name. Love the incubator. I think it's fabulous that UCSD will be doing these sort of things, and good luck and much success.
Thank you, and that does conclude public comment on item S500.
All right, thank you, Clerk. We'll begin with Councilmember Whitburn.
Thank you very much, Council President. Thank you, Mr. Wong and Ms. Smith, for presenting this item. And let me start by recognizing the Museum of Contemporary Art for the completion of its extraordinary renovation and expansion of the museum's La Jolla campus. It is a stunning space, and it is a point of pride for our city. I also want to thank the museum for the work that it has put in over the years, operating a facility that has contributed to the cultural vitality of downtown. With today's action, the museum will pass the torch to an institution that is another point of pride for our city, UC San Diego, which will continue fulfilling and expanding upon this important mission. From providing artists and nonprofits with administrative support services and affordable usage fees, to supporting historically underrepresented groups, the uses that UC San Diego envisions for this location will ensure that creative and cultural programming carries on at this location. And I want to thank UC San Diego for investing in the arts downtown. I also want to thank so many members of the arts community for providing comments today and yesterday at the special meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission. And I appreciate some of the questions that have been raised by Space for Art and a couple of the other representatives. It is important that we consider these things. So thank you for bringing them to our attention. One of the questions had to do with the language in the 2004 agreement that said the city could essentially repossess the property if it ceased to be used for its intended purpose. I wanted to explore that question, and I took the time to do that. And I'm glad I did. And after reviewing it, it is my best judgment that it would not make sense for the city to attempt to exercise that clause. First, there is a question about the legal viability of that option under the existing circumstances. But even if we were to repossess it, then what? The city is in no financial position to fund a seismic retrofit of that building and HVAC replacement and other upgrades. I also heard a desire for a public process and a community dialogue about the future use of this property. To that point, I would just keep in mind that the city does not own this property. We heard UC San Diego talk about the public process that it has committed to having going forward. But remember, the city council has to approve a sale, but the city does not broker this sale. It isn't doing a request for proposals. It's the museum's property, and they have decided to sell it to UC San Diego. Now, the city could reject the sale, but where would that leave us? It would leave us with no plan for the site, no assurance that another entity would offer the museum what UC San Diego is offering, and no assurance that another entity would have the capacity to invest in the building and invest in the programming the way UC San Diego has committed to. So from a legal and a practical standpoint, I am confident that what is in front of us today is the best path forward. And I will note that there were quite a few arts organizations that have submitted letters of support for this and spoken here today. The Santa Fe Depot, with its rich history and gorgeous architecture, is one of the gems of downtown San Diego. But beyond its aesthetic beauty, the depot, of course, is a transportation hub. Every day, passengers make connections to or from East County, the international border, North County, Los Angeles, and beyond. And this venue will attract attendees, not just from downtown, but from throughout the region. The ability to use public transit to attend an artistic, theatrical, or musical event happening steps away from multiple bus lines and the MTS, NCTD, and Amtrak rail lines combines the benefits of sustainability and cultural enrichment. I'm also pleased the city will receive a long-awaited payment of $150,000 for improving the B Street corridor, which is adjacent to the venue. That corridor allows pedestrians to directly access the rail platform from Kettner and West B, so they don't have to walk a half block south and cut through the depot building. The public access improvements and beautification of the corridor will be a bit closer once the city receives these funds. San Diegans are eager to see what comes next at this venue, and I am too. And I'm happy to make the motion to approve the staff's recommendation. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitburn. Council President Pro Tem LaCava.
Thank you, Council President. I know my colleagues' comments are so fantastic. I almost don't even want to speak, but I'm happy to second the motion. I want to thank staff for bringing this item forward, and thank you to Economic Development for protecting the city's narrow interest in what is in fact, as my colleague said, a private party transaction. And I want to thank UCSD for being, UC San Diego, for being here today to present and answer any remaining questions. And as my colleague did, I want to thank the Museum of Contemporary Art, based in District 1, who activated the space, made major investments, and offered to our city an extraordinary experience of what is possible when we work together. We cannot thank you enough for what the museum has done with this space over the past 20 years. Arts are a big part of what makes life beautiful, and I appreciate all of the voices who have shared their best ideas on how to best champion this important venue. The legal documents before us today preserve the most critical restrictions of the 2004 contract, and in fact, strengthen the city's potential for oversight. The use restrictions of the space will continue. The city believes the space is not being used properly. It has mechanisms to enforce the use restrictions, as well as retaining the ability of the city to take ownership of the property in 2091. I'm not going to be around. But that was an important component of the original agreement. So with that, I look forward to the implementation of the university's vision as articulated in today's presentation. I do urge the university to be mindful that it can be intimidating due to your size and your decision-making process, and to continue to be a good partner with the arts community as we've seen you do in many other university venues. And again, with that, I'm happy to second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem. Not going to be around. What type of attitude is that? Councilmember Von Wilper.
Thank you very much to our city attorneys and our real estate asset department and DREAM, it's the whole acronym. Sorry, everyone who's involved in this transaction. Thank you to UCSD, and thank you to the artists who have been occupying this space for years and bringing cultural education and awareness to the city. I want to thank Councilor Whitburn for also doing the investigation into whether or not the city could have exercised an option. I also agree, based on reading the lease and the prior grant deed and the requirements to exercise the option, which do include a notice of default and a cure period. I mean, that is very typical in so many leases. We can't simply just come in and tell someone you're out. You have to give opportunity to cure. And so if there was ever any formal notice of default, then there was no default under the law. So I completely agree. Mr. Strauss, though, you said you might have any other comments. Do you want any of my time to make any other comments, or are you set? Okay. Okay, thank you. I appreciate, as an attorney especially, I love hearing what lawyers have to say about these transactions, so I wanted to give you an opportunity. We have an excellent land use attorney here, Kevin Reich, who, if you are supporting this item, I have no doubt that this has been done. I just have a clarifying question. Is the city continuing to exercise, or the city's going to continue to have the option to take this property over pursuant to the 2004 agreement? Is that going to continue with this grant? Or are we terminating that option? I wasn't clear based on the language.
Senior Deputy City Attorney Kevin Reich. Yes, the city is retaining the 2004 option, but it is being modified and narrowed. So under the 2000 version, the city could take title to the property under two circumstances. The first one is in 2091 or beyond. And the second is if there was that uncured default, which, by the way, we do have reservations about whether the city would practically be able to enforce that. But under the current agreement in front of you today, that option is narrowed down so that it's only the city's acquisition of the property in 2091. We've also have clarified, which is something that was ambiguous in the 2004 documents, that the city could exercise that option at no cost to the city.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. And then I have another question in the grant deed about the 2,755 usable square feet of space to be subleased, or could be subleased by Amtrak. Is that currently happening, or is that going to happen in the future? Do we know?
Kevin?
They're already occupying. Okay. All right. I was curious when I read it in the grant. And my very last question in the new grant deed is in subsection 3 for successors and assigns. The sentence, the last, second to last sentence states that these covenants shall not be terminated or amended without the prior written consent of a duly authorized representative of the city. Who would that be? Who constitutes a duly authorized representative of the city?
I'll defer that legal question to Kevin.
Typically, if the agreement is silent on that point, then it would be delegated to an administrative decision, so that would be the mayor or designee, but the mayor or designee could always reserve the right to bring that decision to the council. It's most likely if there's a substantive amendment, which is like what's happening now in front of you today.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a substantive amendment, we would determine that would require an amendment to the existing contract, which would trigger council approval.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't know if somebody was unilaterally empowered to say this no longer has to be an art or education space, because from now to 2091 is a long time. Yes, Mr. Strauss, please use the microphone so the public can hear you.
Just to give you all greater comfort on that, the operative provision on that is 2.1. That's in the grant deed. And 2.1 in the grant deed provides that the grantee, its successors and assigns shall use and manage it for cultural, educational, institutional uses. That can't be changed.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. All right, I appreciate you. All right, thank you very much. Thank you to UCSD for also affirming your commitment that this space will be open to everyone and used equitably, and made sure that everybody has a fair chance at getting a spot to utilize this important space. I love the Santa Fe Depot. It is such an important resource for us. So thank you for taking it over and all that UCSD does. for your performance, education institutions, and supporting the arts community. Because as Councilor Whitworth said, it is not an easy thing to do financially. And the arts always gets cut first in the budget cuts. So we appreciate UCSD stepping in with your financial resources as well to make sure we keep this space what it needs to be. So I'll support the item. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Von Wolpert. Councilmember Foster.
Yes, thank you, Council President, and thank you for the presentation. If I may, can you go to slide 6, I believe, of your presentation? Thank you. And I just want to come back to this slide because it talks about UC San Diego's vision for the space. And as I listen to all the public comment and as I see the folks that came in person, I share in the concerns of one of the callers. And I must, say this, one of the individuals that did call in does sit on a California commission for arts. And so I think that carries some relevance and some weight. And what was expressed was concerning, so I wanted to make sure that I gave you an opportunity before we do call for the vote. As we look at on this slide when we talk about the approach, and it says community input facilitated by cultural arts experts plus advisory group. I do share a concern, as it's been indicated that there will be an outside firm from out of state, I believe, that will come in and provide some consulting and so forth as things are getting set up and established. How are you going to ensure that this outside firm is going to reach down and be inclusive as you are looking at programming and say collaborating with the San Diego Black Arts and Culture District, collaborating with representatives to make sure there's representation on an advisory board that is from, as you look at the tale of two cities of northern San Diego to southern San Diego. What's your intent there? If you can elaborate on that more, please.
Thanks for the question. We want this to be as collaborative a process as possible. And what I'd love to do is it's not an either or, it's a both and for us. And so that's part of what I'm hearing in the concerns and the fears, and all of that is valid. But by including the performing arts, we do not exclude the visual arts, it's both and. And by including experts who do have experience in creating global destinations alongside local experts and local groups and those groups that you mentioned and additional groups, it can only make us better and stronger. So our commitment is absolutely to include. Again, we're really early in the process. Part of this, one of the consultants we're using is called Charcoal Blue, and that's because there's no one locally who has the expertise to transform a historic property and make sure it's adaptable in a way that can be used for the visual and performing arts. So there are some instances where we're gonna need to look beyond San Diego to find that expertise, but by using both local and global experts, we'll be honoring the past of the space and the rich history of our community, not just there, but the great work that's happening all over the region, as well as creating something new and innovative that will be something people come to San Diego to see and look to us to lead.
I appreciate that. The other concern I have, which comes up quite a bit, is just access to space by our smaller artists, smaller nonprofits, right? We tend to do
very well with our well-established entities and larger organizations. But oftentimes our smaller groups go forgotten and are left out. So I just want to make sure that we are inclusive, that there is a commitment from UC San Diego to come down, especially to the Black Arts and Culture District, and provide a presentation to the advisory board there to look at what opportunities are available, and to see how we can carve out some seats for very specific communities. I think we've done a very good push in the city of San Diego in moving the Arts Commission and establishing an actual department. I think that's a very good step into where we can continue to collaborate and fill those gaps on what those smaller organizations are. Also, we've gone through and developed quite a few districts in the recent past. We have the Convoy District, that is a cultural district. We have things going on with the community plan update that we just did in areas such as Hillcrest, and we also have the Black Arts and Culture District. So I just want to make sure that we are truly going to be inclusive and bring all our groups in to provide that much needed advisement, and to make sure that we are crossing our T's and dotting our I's. So totally supportive of continuing to make this a destination location. Appreciate the access with the train, the trolley, things to that nature. I've even had conversations as I'm working with a group to bring an exhibit from the Negro Leagues to San Diego. And this location was a spot that was considered, but I think the decision came in that we're going to try to do something within the District 4 boundaries, and really push to bring visitors and things to the district. So if I can have that commitment, totally appreciative to make sure that we can get a presentation, and that we are going to continue those collaborative efforts to make sure we're inclusive.
That is our commitment. The vision for us is not to go in and program the space ourselves, and it's part of why we're maintaining that commitment to both Blind Spot and Disco Ride at small nonprofits that serve those historically excluded groups from arts. And then part of the process will be how to determine an equitable way to determine who can be in the space and get as much impact as we can.
I appreciate that. I will be supportive of the item today, but I would ask that as you tend to continue your work, continue the progress, I would love to come down, do a walkthrough, get a tour, and understand more details as how you are putting your programming together. So thank you, and that concludes my questions.
Thank you, Councilman Foster. I appreciated those questions. I had a similar train of thought. I just to make sure I'm 100% clear, and apologies if I missed this. There was a commitment to include representation from designated cultural districts in the planning for what's going to happen here?
Yes, we'll make sure that they're included in the planning process and those community conversations.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We've got a motion put forward by Councilmember Whitburn, seconded by Council President Pro Tem LaCava. Don't see any additional requests to speak to this item. Clerk, if you'd please call the roll.
Start the voting system. Please cast your vote. That passes unanimously 7-0 with Councilmember Campillo and Councilmember Moreno absent.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to trail item S506 to this afternoon. We'll trail non-agenda public comment to this afternoon. With that, we will take our 1 o'clock recess and reconvene at 2 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
The non-agenda. First of the month.